Right, the nick of time. A very good evening, everybody. Nice to have your company wherever you're tuning in, all around Australia or indeed the world. These are the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club across Facebook and YouTube. And this is a Gilles Villeneuve-inspired doubleheader on Wednesday night motorsport for you to get March Madness underway. The Ile Notre Dame in Quebec, in Canada, the setting for both. And it's the long circuit too, because there's only one bloody configuration around here for both the 7th round of the Oz Legends Cup and also the Trophi.AI Supercar Series. Zach Cabe and Adam Lavis with you. Good to have you along. Very heavy, very sad news day as far as sports fans are concerned. I'm going to address that at some point throughout the course of the evening. There's some motorsport news that's only reached my desk in the last hour that we will pass on now that we've been able to confirm the credibility of the sources. But let's focus on the racing first, because that's what everybody involved would want us to do. The show must go on, and we will start with two races around this 4.31 kilometre circuit for the Oz Legends Cup. 3:15 in the afternoon local server time, 18 km/h winds in a northwesterly direction, 19 degrees the ambient, 20 on track, and partly cloudy conditions. Championship points briefly. To show you, ladies and gentlemen, that the points race being led at the moment by Sam Chapman, and then forget about it. It's daylight to Brett Barker, daylight to Hilton Booth, then Adam Funslow, Richard Brookfield, Joel Hansen, Dale Sharp, Ryan Jones, Reece Keenan, Greg Heaney make up the top 10. Grid for tonight, not the biggest field you've ever seen in your life, ladies and gentlemen, but it's Sam Proctor on the front row alongside Adam Funslow, Brett Barker, Richard Brookfield, the second row, Nathan Michael, Dale Sharp, the third row, Adam Proctor, Tom Pritchard, the fourth row, Hilton Booth, Greg Heaney, the fifth, Joel Hansen, Sam Cullen, and Pete Matson make up this field. It's an 11-car field at the moment, because both Cullen and Matson are yet to join us on the grid, but we'll wait and see if they pop in there at the back of shot. We're very lucky actually to be able to make this one happen for you tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Adam's taken himself off the grid in order to get the broadcast up and away. There will be a driver switch in the cockpit seat of the director and producer chair a little bit later on. Dan Yeaman will take over most likely for our coverage of the supercars, which means that you will need to switch over to a news stream in order for that to happen, ladies and gentlemen. Beautiful circuit, great racetrack. A couple of other notable absentees. Again, Adam sacrificing himself. Ryan Jones, obviously not on the grid either. Something about Formula One being in his neck of the woods this week. Ready to fire! Wednesday night motorsport platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Let's go in Canada! Chapman made a beautiful start. Sharp got the better of Michael, and Barker got the better of Funslow immediately off the top. The whole shot, brilliant. Funslow and Barker arguing over the same piece of real estate. Funslow eventually holds on. Brookfield trying to get the run on Barker out of turn 2. They are squabbling to and fro at the moment. So too in behind them, Nathan Michael and Dale Sharp. Inside line favours firstly Michael, because he managed to stick it on the outside to the inside for the left-hander at 4. And then inevitably Dale Sharp has made that move stick. He will hold on to 5th on the inside. Michael surrenders and consolidates and yields and goes into 6th for the moment. Proctor, Pritchard, Heaney and Booth the top 10. Hansen 11th, no Cullen, no Matson. Good evening, Adam Lavis.
Good evening, Zach. Hope all is well down in the nice state of New South Wales and progressive times, all that sort of jazz you like to talk about. But yeah, Nathan's wide, that'll be a slow down free, unfortunately.
Absolutely.
But yeah, fun, one of the, where's Dale going? Now he's back. So yeah, Circuit Montreal, one of the greatest tracks on the service, very, very traditional track. Good for racing, and yeah, should be interesting to see how these guys get the slipstream down this big back straight.
We absolutely love this venue. It's just a shame that it falls on a night where so many of our would-be contenders, including your good self, are not available to be on the racetrack. The pitfalls are not being able to be in two places at once. It's a problem we're going to have on Wednesday nights going forward, of course, with our mates the Australian Sim Racing Group also running their Porsche Pro Invitational Series. Well done to all of our GSRC members that have survived the hustle and bustle of pre-qualifying and secured their spot on that grid as well, including Sam Chapman, who leads this race at the moment. He's almost got a second on Adam Funslow, and that's the threshold around here, you've got to be perfectly honest. This is only likely going to be a 5 at best 6-lap race, ladies and gentlemen. And well, sorry, no. Sorry, I'm so used to it being 10 and 15. This is Wednesday night, not Monday night. These are only going to be 8-lap races in the outset in the first heat, ladies and gentlemen, and probably 13, maybe 14 in the second, being a 25-minute affair. 2 minutes, 0.1 the standing time. Those times will tumble a little bit, but not enough to get us a 9th lap here. We'll already be in overtime by the time we complete the 8th. But you're right. I'm a huge fan of this circuit as they go 3 wide, and poor old Tommy Pritchard jammed in the middle of that at the moment. He's got Proctor to one side and Michael to the other, and Heaney behind him, so too Joel and Hanson and Hilton Booth. Actually, that'll be Hanson coming through top of shot at the moment, so he's actually a little bit behind the plate. Through they go. Great racetrack, real exciting racing. Again, that opinion will vary depending upon, in some cases, the category of car or the opinion of each driver. But no, this is always one of my favourites. Always one of those ones that I enjoyed getting up to watch when Formula One went there when I was in my formative years, because it would usually fall at a friendly time of the morning on a public holiday, so you didn't have school or anything else to worry about. So you just jump up. No alarms back then, so you just had to rely on your body clock to do you a favour and wake you up. Plonk yourself in front of the telly. Darryl and AJ would do the job for you in the hosting position. Walker and Martin run there at the Ile Notre Dame, and yeah, some of the great races in Formula One history have played out at this venue, and hopefully some stimulating action tonight out of the supercars to follow this as well. 154.419, fastest lap of the race, Adam Funslow, second time through. That threshold of a second is what Chapman will be pursuing at the moment. He'd like a second of leeway on Funslow just to break the toe. The slipstream effect will be strong around here, especially down that back straight towards the Wall of Champions. And you were right as well. You got to it before I did. Well done, Adam. I am in beautiful Cessnock this evening. Did the trip down last night. Left at just after 9 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. Got to the border an hour and a bit later. Watched the clock somersault forward 112 years in an hour. Nathan Michael hassling Adam Proctor there at the moment. Dale Sharp's gap these guys to the tune of 6 seconds. So 3 distinct battle packs at the moment. You've got Funslow chasing Chapman. You've got Brookfield, Barker and Sharp going at it nicely. You've got Proctor under pressure from Michael. Pritchard and Michael down the inside. Nicely done. This place is Proctor. Pritchard in behind them. Then Booth, Heaney and Hanson, so something's happened to Greg Heaney and all of that. But yes, did the trip down last night, and I was pretty confident with myself. I said, I'll be in the driveway about 5 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Just give you a fair warning. And 4:48 I pulled up, so I had a very solid run. No complaints from me with regards to that. But here for the next few days, and then off to Canberra for the ACT Karting New South Wales titles this weekend. And then, of course, that's going to be a mouthful, isn't it? Karting New South Wales ACT title at the Canberra Kart Club. Looking forward to seeing everybody there. Obviously, hoping that a few of you have brought a big screen along so we can watch Formula One together on Sunday afternoon. And then straight back here Monday. Now, on that subject, stand by, because Adam and I are going to double up next Monday by the sounds of it. We had... I'm pleased, actually. I didn't get to say this to you in the pre-show, but I'm pleased that you were able to get to the bottom of whatever the gremlin was in the system on Monday night, mate. You may have noticed an absence from us on Monday night, folks, unfortunately. The proverbial hit the fan at Adam's end, and thankfully, over 48 hours, he's been able to turn that around. So expect, in the same way that we've been doing it with GT4 and the Porsche Cup, expect a replay from the 7th round of the GT3 and Super Formula Light campaigns. Expect it next Monday in the daylight hours before we go primetime racing live and free here from 7:40. Replay, some early incidents. Nathan Michael on the loud pedal. Yep. Just a little bit too eager on the loud pedal coming out of turn 2. Brett Barker in 4th place. This was him having a moment. Exit. Oh no, we're back live. Sorry, no. Really, only one replay in all of that. We've had 4 laps of racing and only one replay. Excellent. So this is back live now, and this is Brett Barker chasing Richard Brookfield. Go for it, mate.
Yeah, other than overtakes, the only 2 incidents in the incident log was that spin by Nathan, and then when he cut the chicane on lap 1. So that's all. The boys are having a fairly clean run.
Jeez, race control won't know what to do with themselves. They will not know what to do with themselves this evening. Down the back straight. That's Chapman under pressure from Funslow. Funslow has caught Chapman. This is what we're talking about. Can be difficult to break the toe here. Chapman finding that out at the moment. And Funslow has been in good form in the recent weeks in these races where he's been a real lurking threat. Now he's on track to potentially displace the championship leader and nab his third win of the season. It's a long way from done. It's 4 down, 4 to go. He's still got a fair bit of work to do, but at least he's in the mix. Chapman, however, I mean, let's be honest, he's got Brett Barker covered off at the moment. We have a look at those championship standings. Here's a replay, just as we say we hadn't had too many replays already. That was Tommy Pritchard down the bottom of the circuit at the hairpin and lighting the rear end up, trying to get it back pointed in the right direction. We mentioned Chapman, Barker, Booth. It's 147 points between, not that maths is my strong point, between Chapman and Booth at the moment. And it's 94 between Chapman and Barker. So he can let Funslow go here, can Chapman, because he's got 187, 155. No, that can't be right. No, it is right. There you go, 155 points. So that's exciting. 147 on Booth and 155 on Funslow. 155 points on Funslow, so he can let Funslow go here. He doesn't have to race him. He doesn't have to win this race or even win this round. He just needs to tick the box. There's the first glove tap of the night. That's Funslow getting really well acquainted with the back end of the Vermilion Esports entry to the end of the Casino Straight. To the chicane, to the Wall of Champions, to the main straight we go. Funslow's in the mix here, but Chapman, I mean, this is the point. Chapman will want to win. He'll want to win on merit. He'll want to win regardless of the championship advantage. He knows that he doesn't have to, but he can't help himself. He'll want to go out there and sign on the dotted line and ram home the point of his dominance. He doesn't have to. He'll still lead very comfortably the championship leader tonight, but that's not how he races. He knows the equation. He knows how to go about it and still tick the box, but it's all about the ones, trying to rack up those statistics to, again, further exaggerate or highlight the dominance. We ride on board with him now. But this is the funny thing about that, Adam. How many times have you seen it work both ways, right? You go pushing for that little bit extra that you don't need to necessarily force the point on and trip up. And conversely, if you play conservatively, you can so easily trip yourself up trying to do that as well.
Indeed, yeah. Sometimes if you get in your own groove, if you start letting off, that puts you actually out of your little bit of a groove, and you actually end up making a mistake, which is even more embarrassing because you don't feel like you're pushing, and it's just that's the worst time to make a mistake is when you're not even trying.
Down the Casino Straight again. We run towards the final corner. At this point in time, there's no pit stop scheduled in this first race, of course. We don't know about the second. We'll wait and see. There have been instances where we've seen pit stops in recent weeks, but that'll be up to these guys to sort out once we get there. This is race 13 of the championship. Remembering that there's still 3 stops to go. Trouble halfway down the back straight. Wowee. Greg Heaney. And also Nathan Michael. They're chasing Hilton Boots. So Hilton Boots come from out of the clouds from nowhere and risen up the order into position number 6. Heaney and Michael in 7th and 8th. Adam Proctor's fallen off the tail of that. And Tom Pritchard's parked up. He's done. Joel Hansen holds 10th at the moment. We'll have the invert pole if things stay as they are. Funslow's within a tenth of a second, or was within a tenth of a second of Chapman. Brookfield and Barker separated by a coat of varnish, and these three are having a real serious scrap for 6th on track at the moment. Just reminding you, folks, of the run home in this series. Next week, Alton Park, Foster's. Week after, Hungaro Ring, full circle, because there's no second configuration there to work with, or shorter configuration. Then, races 19, 20, and 21 on the streets of Adelaide in week 10. Turn around twice, blink once, Adam, and that 10th week will be upon us. It's gone remarkably quickly again this season. I know we say it all the time, but every season just seems to fly by, just that little smidgen quicker than the previous one. And I guess that's just another fine example of the fact that we're having fun, and time flies when you're doing so.
And yeah, it does. If only it was the opposite way around, where the fun times were the enjoyable ones, and the boring times were the ones that flew past. But unfortunately, that's not the way life works. But it is one of those things. But sometimes it's one of those things with the seasons going past fast. Sometimes it's a good thing, and other times it can't come quick enough. It depends where you are in the championship standings, of whether you're ready for your fresh slate, or if you're actually out in front, you just want it in quicker so you can get it done and dusted.
Speaking of getting it done and dusted, Brett Barker doing what he needs to do to stay second in the championship. That was what happened. Greg Heaney with a monster and up and over. Okay, there's more to that story. Wow. So that'll be Tom. That wouldn't have been Tom Pritchard, no. Can we have a look at that again? Adam Proctor it was. Yeah, right. Okay. Adam's just had nowhere to go. He got two for the price of one there. He got both the Whiskey Business entries. So Proctor and Heaney both to pit road to get a fast repair. Pritchard parked up and done. Joel and Hanson all of a sudden moves to 8th. Heaney to 10th. Now, Nathan Michaels played a role in this as well. Oh, okay. So Michael's the one that's cleaned his own teammate up. Wowee. No love lost there in the Whiskey Business stable. The teammates are brawling on a Wednesday night. I'm sure there was no malice or intent from Nathan Michael, but he's still going to wear a 15-second penalty.
Oh, Chapo being sneaky.
Oh, Chapman!
No, that's him being sneaky. He's deliberately going wide to get the toe here.
Wowee.
That's
gamesmanship. He's done this in Formula V, hasn't he?
Yeah, that's an Alps off run wide. Oh, no.
This is the final lap, folks. Adam Lavis more aware of that than I was. Gamesmanship begins. He's got the run. Now he leads. Funslow has one more opportunity to have a crack. Will he dive down the inside? Yes, he will. Will he be able to get it done? Yes, no, yes, no. Side by side. Oh, a champion! Now it's a drag race. Chapman and Funslow. Photo finish on a Wednesday night at the Il Notre Dame. Funslow's done it. By a bee's proverbial. Funslow wins again, another photo finish in the Oz Legends Cup.
It was a photo for third as well.
Brookfield over Barker by 0.02 of a second. Wowee. Oh, you can't split that. You absolutely cannot pick that. Adam Proctor's going to get a 25-second penalty for lack of caution under the yellow flag as well. So Michael 15, Proctor 25. Heaney hasn't come to the line. So all of that's not really going to matter. A rodent's in all of this. Chapman has been pipped at the post, trying to one-up Funslow, and Funslow's like, I'm not having a bar of this. So he's happily allowed Chapo to go back to the lead halfway down the Casino Straight, and then dive deep to the inside with little to no room to play with, and then initiated a drag race down the main straight. How good was that? Well done. Funslow, Chapman, Brookfield got Barker in a similar photo finish. You've already seen that. Sharp, Booth, Michael with 15 seconds will be displaced in all of that. He will slot in behind Joel and Hanson. Then Adam Proctor, well, it doesn't matter because he's already relegated anyway. And Greg Heaney's a lap down. So Proctor can't go any lower than 9th because Heaney's a lap down. And Michael can't go any lower than 8th because he's already got Proctor covered off, and Proctor's got a heavier invoice than he does. So just the one position change in all of that. Nathan Michael will go to 8th. And in all of that, Greg Heaney will end up with the invert pole, with Adam Proctor on the front row. Good grief. Oh boy. Not much I can add to that. That was just riveting stuff. The Oz Legends Cup, you do not need a big field to deliver entertainment. They've proven that on several occasions this season already. Merch.GSRC.com is where you go for all your GSRC merch and paraphernalia. And, of course, the new range. Check that out. Get amongst it. Place an order. And hope that it's delivered in time for Easter. It's interesting because I say that because some people, given the exorbitant price of chocolate at the moment, not least everything else that's going to be exorbitantly priced the way that the prelude to World War III is going. Did I just say that out loud? Yes, I did. Not like me to make a political statement on a Wednesday night, but there we go. It won't be the only thing that people are foregoing. My family have said, we're not going to do chocolate this Easter. We're going to think of other stuff. And I was like, that's fine. Because every year I get chocolate and I don't finish the bloody thing anyway. It ends up just going to waste. I love the thought and I love the gesture, but it ends up just going to waste. So maybe grab some GSRC merch and paraphernalia and share that with your family and friends instead. And if you want any information on how we go about our business, who we are, what we do, where we do it, why we do it, and how we do it, race.tgsrci.com is where you go for all the relevant details and information. And there is where you can express your interest in getting involved in the fun of the fair as well. That's the road ahead. We detailed that a few moments ago. That is, of course, Alton Park next week, then the Hungaro Ring, then the Adelaide Street Circuit. And you watch, Adam Lavis, because it's Adelaide. All the naysayers that have been nowhere to be seen the last 7 weeks, they'll all come up from under the woodwork.
Quite possibly. I mean, this little car will be a bit tricky around there, though. It's as you've seen, the way the that first chicane is, the stiffly sprung cars are a bit of a handful, and this thing is not only stiffly sprung but also short wheelbase, so it could be a little sketchy over that turn 2 curb.
The second race not too far away now, folks, with Ryan Jones got caught at the racetrack later than planned. Not happy. I wouldn't have thought so, but I envisaged that being the issue for you, mate. Very exciting times. I'm particularly pleased with the news that's come out earlier this week, actually, on the subject of the Grand Prix paddock, that Ryan Casher is making the graduation up from the Porsche Michelin Sprint Challenge into the Porsche Carrera Cup proper. And I say that because he is an Ipswich local, and I've followed a lot of his progress through the XLs into all of this stuff in recent times through interviews that we've done for West Bromwich Radio. So I'm pleased for him, as pleased as I am for third gen racer, also a member of the Toyota 86 Championship honour roll in Max Gagan, making the step up into that category as well. Jonesy, hopefully you're back in time for the Supercars at the same venue, mate. Go well with the trip home and enjoy the next 4 days, rather you than me, dealing with all that crowd and traffic and rubbish. And all the overpriced exorbitance of it as well. Those winds are still 27 kilometres an hour in a northwesterly direction. And Greg Heaney has pole from Adam Proctor, Joel Hanson, Nathan Michael, Hilton Booth, Dale Sharp, Brett Barker, Richard Brookfield, Sam Chapman and Adam Funslow. Set to go. Race 2 of the night at the El Notre Dame. Let's go. Again, Dale Sharp a bit blinky Bill. Brett Barker's made a good start. Up on the inside, a Sharp will give him 2 for the price of 1 to turn 1 if he can get by. No, Sharp went deep and then went long. Down on the inside, dives through on Joel Hanson. He's up +2. Sam Chapman up +2 as well. Hilton Booth has absolutely botched the start, lost 4 spots. Adam Proctor and Greg Heaney are safely away. But Proctor's trying to squeeze with Heaney on the inside. Heaney's going to take to the ripple strip. Michael's going to go up around his outside. Those two got into each other earlier. I'm sure the post-mortem Mr. Business Racing Stable is going to be one that you wish for a fly on the wall for later on tonight. And now, on the run down, Sharp into the back of Nathan Michael, and Sharpie's gone round. Oh dear. Oh dear. other than that, a relatively safe start. But unfortunately for Sharpie, he's out of business. I mean, he's not out of the race, but no disrespect to him, Adam Wavis, you're not making up 7.5 seconds around here in a race that's only going to be 13 laps long.
Oh, it's going to be tough for him to get towards the front pack, but he might be able to make it to the second pack, so he may still be able to get some positions towards the end of the race here. We'll just have to wait and see if he can maintain. He's going to have to be very smooth, though, because obviously he's got to try and get as much pace while these guys have got the slipstream advantage, and then as they fall apart, then try and make his move and catch back up.
Down the back straight we go. Let's go 2 by 2, 3 by 3. Brett Barker through the middle. Gets by Proctor. Looks to get by Michael. Does so. Goes to the inside. Barker's going to lead him back to the main straight. Michael lets him go. Proctor, line astern. Across the line. One gone. Thinking it'll be 12. Sorry, thinking it'll be 13 laps. Sorry, folks. Not thinking we'll get 14 out of this. Time's too close to the 2-minute threshold, and there's only 25 minutes at our disposal. So we will likely start that 13th lap somewhere in the 24th minute, but then obviously go into overtime. Whoa, there goes Greg Heaney! Rolling backwards into turn 3. So both the Whiskey Business entries in trouble early on. Michael's still sitting in second spot somehow. Chapman has already got back up in a fourth spot behind Adam Proctor. Michael and Barker have bolted. Barker will have nothing more to get back into the winner's circle in this series, considering the stranglehold, rather, not the threshold, the stranglehold. I'm using the wrong words. I had the right second part of the word, just not the right first part. The stranglehold that Sam Chapman has on this championship at the moment, and the fact that Adam Funslow now has 3 wins to his name, that might make him the second most winningest driver of the season so far. That was Greg Heaney. Did he make contact with Proctor in the process?
Yeah, it was exactly the same as Dale. He just broke it a little bit later than Proctor, and he just touched the back of his car and unsettled the rear of the car.
Good move, Nathan Michael, back down the inside. Gets by Brett Barker once more. That was a 2:06.4 the last time through the first lap. As we saw in race 1, those times will come down. Sub 2 minutes, about a minute 54, somewhere around there. Minute 57 at the moment. Helping our cause for this to be just a 13-lap race. What will be interesting for mine in all of this, Adam, is just how quickly those guys, and I mean Chapo's obviously in the box seat, Funslow's there with him, how quickly they can clear Barker and Michael, as we've seen already, not a straightforward assignment, and then take off and give themselves a little bit of buffer to play with. Proctor, Hanson, Booth, Sharp, Heaney rounding out the field at the moment. Heaney at the very back of it, so he's got company in the form of Dale Sharp. Just again further illustrating how much of a price you pay when you make a mistake around here. But I guess it's glass half full and glass half empty type situation, Adam. They've still got a bag of top 10 finish. Nathan Michael holding off Brett Barker still.
And championship-wise, still not too bad. Top 10 is better than nothing, so it is worth still fighting on and bagging those points. But obviously, yeah, unfortunately for Greg, wasn't near the front, so a bit of an opportunity for a podium gone begging, but he'll make the best and move on and do what he can. And him and Dale will try and move the way back up the field as much as they can.
Roy Barker, he was a little bit wide. Then Chapman, Funslow, Brookfield, Proctor, Hanson the top 7. Booth is 8. Sharp and Heaney the top 10. Then Cullen, then Matson, then Pritchard. Of course, the non-starters and non-finishers of the first heat, respectively. Chapman making a run. Gets by Michael to the inside. No, Michael covered it off around the outside. Deep under brakes. Whiskey Business still in front. Don't rule Richard Brookfield out of this just yet either. It's a top 5 battle pack at the moment. Brookfield at the very back of it. He's got Funslow to the outside. Barker through the middle, Michael on the outside, Chapman as well. Chapman's going to be mid-track and leading it through. He's going to get a push along from Barker potentially here. Michael's still fighting the inside line and trying to make it work. Down the inside, go for it, Nathan. That's it. Lead from the front, son. Whoa, gone. Too much curb and gone. It wasn't ambitious. The move was on. He just caught the wrong part of the curb. And it picked it up and scut him out like a pogo. Watch this. Ripple strip. Bang. Just unsettled on. He just got a little bit too greedy on the curb. Right out of the mix he goes. Drops down to 8. And then there were 4 at the front of the field. And probably the right call, to be honest, based on the first race pace.
Oh, to be fair, Nathan was in that group as well. He had the pace to run with him as well, so he just made a couple of mistakes in that first race. But yeah, it is filtering out to be the similar group of 4 or 5 we had in the last race. So they're sort of reverse their positions mostly, as you can see on the timing tower. The top 4 green, everyone else red.
But Richard Brookfield's actually lost a second and a half off this battle pack as well. Did he have a slowdown or something?
I think he just made a mistake in that second last chicane.
Copy. Either that or he got compromised, taking evasive action on Nathan Michael, one or the other. Interesting. So, long road back for Brookfield. Chapman right where he wants to be. Knows he's got his work cut out for him twice as much as he did in race 1. Relentless pressure from Funslow resulted in a win for Funslow at the post at the death in race 1. Now, of course, Brett Barker's there as well, looking to get back in the winner's circle. And when you look at the Oz Legends Cup points table coming into this round, it's interesting reading for Brett Barker. I mean, yes, he's second in the championship, but finishes the 5th DNF, 10th, 2nd, 5th, 8th. 2nd, 4th, 3rd, 5th, 6th, 3rd. The bloke has not nabbed a rate. Surely he's due. Back straight again. Apologies as well, folks, because the network's been a little bit temperamental at my end the last 30 seconds or so. I'm hoping it stabilises now. Again, working off the on-the-road setup, the travel kit, if you like. Down the back straight we go. Chapo, Barker, then Funslow. They team up on the inside. They want to pounce on Chapman that way. Chapman wants to go deep. And he's going to have to yield for the moment. But again, Adam Lavis, that's racecraft. And we saw him try and execute that, albeit just unsuccessfully in race 1.
It's, Brock is around the background, unfortunately, so he's going to go join the group if everyone's spun around. But, yeah, we just saw, Chapo tried to be the wily fox, and apparently just didn't quite get there. Unlucky for him, but Adam Funslow was sort of had onside time to retaliate and just snuck it up inside and got the drag race. Basically ended up being a 50-50 call with who drag each other to the line. Came in favour of Funslow, so be one love for Funslow. We'll see if Chapo can get him back on this race, but I'm sure Brett Barker will have other things to say about that.
Absolutely. Oh dear, that was Greg Heaney's second incident for him. He's on the tow rope this time. And Adam Proctor also on the tow rope. Uh-oh, curb. Wall. But it wasn't a big hit, but it was enough to just frustrate Adam Proctor enough to say, you know what, boys, that'll do me. How good's this? Funslow and Barker now side by side, leaders to the back straight. This is lap number 6, ladies and gentlemen. If I sound a little loud of it, it's because I've only had about 2 hours sleep since driving home to Cessnock. Early hours of this morning, got home at 4:48. Coincidentally, my niece was awake at 4:49. Love it a bit, but didn't need that sort of energy at 4 o'clock in the morning. And was hoping she'd go back to sleep, but she refused to. So I reckon I had maybe 2 or 3 hours at most later in the morning. And very much looking forward to the end of this broadcast. Cold shower and bed. It's a bit steamy and sticky in Cessnock tonight. Chapman to the inside of Funslow. Funslow around the outside. Holds onto the lead for the moment. And I don't have the usual pedestal fan that I have up home either, so it's like being in a sauna at the moment. Nathan Michael is off the road and done. Oh dear. He gets back going, but any chance he had of factoring in the mix has completely evaporated. Barker still third in a 3-horse race at the moment. Brookfield, Sharp, Booth, then Michael, then Hanson. Heaney and Proctor on the tow rope, they're probably done. Oh, jeez. How lucky can you be? That's almost a get-out-of-jail-free card for Adam Funslow. That could have been so different. And look who's back in the mix now as a result of that.
Well, I was going to say with him in front, I was wondering if he was going to try and hold the other guys up to bring his teammate back into it, but he's inadvertently done it any other way around by making a mistake. He's now bridged the slipstream gap to bring his teammate back in that way. So, may not have been plan A, but the result is still the same for him. His teammate back in the mix.
Absolutely. Heaney and Proctor still on pit road. They're done. We're down to 8 on track. And, now that Richard Brookfield's back in there, Adam Funslow has support that he didn't know he needed. And Nathan Michaels just got back by Hilton Booth to move back up in a 6th spot. Dale Sharp is 5th. Then Hilton Booth in 7th. Joel and Hanson is 8th. And a very lonely, albeit comfortable 8th at the moment. No one's going to be challenging him for that. And considering that he was also 8th in race 1, it'll be a pair of 8ths for Joel and Hanson if things stay as they do stand right now. 14 minutes gone. We're on lap 8. We are heading for a total of 13 laps in this second heat. Race 14 of the championship. By this point, 2/3 of the racing quota will be down. 7 races still to come. 2 next week, 2 the week after, 3 in grand final week. Extended broadcast on grand final night will start at 7:25 Eastern Daylight Time to squeeze in an extra 10 minutes of racing here. 10, 15 and 25 that night, isn't it?
I think so, yes.
And then the supercars, of course, for an hour around the streets of Adelaide. So excited about St Pete coming to the iRacing server, folks. I know a lot of you IndyCar fans will be as well. Cannot wait to see what the racing dishes up there when we throw GT3 and Porsches around old St Pete in the early part of next term. Might have to bring Formula V back as well, I think. And I'm sure that one N Fodiatis, who I haven't heard from for a little while, will be throwing his hat into the ring for IndyCar to make a return as well. Brookfield down the inside, Funslow around the outside. Teammates will be done together at this point. Chapman's now 4th in a 4-horse fight, and Barker's going to lead him across the strike once more. 8 gone, 5 to go. Only about half a minute of overtime coming our way here. Times have slowed dramatically. They're down in the 56s and 7s at the moment. So they're holding each other up. Barker holds on. Funslow gets through on Brookfield. They were basically mounting a wall of defence to deprive Sam Chapman any opportunity to have a look through on the inside. Goodness, I hope there's a good supercar field here tonight, Adam. Slow down there for Nathan Michael as well.
Well, there's currently 22 already registered, so...
Oh, thank goodness. Just let this one play out for the moment, folks. Watching Barker and Funslow. Brookfield and Chapman there, third and fourth. They are 11 seconds clear of anybody else on the racetrack. Beyond that, only Dale Sharp's giving... Nathan Michael's giving Dale Sharp any sort of trouble. Booth and Hanson are running a very lonely race at this point. That was a brilliant move from Funslow to go to lead on Barker down the Casino Straight. You do not want to be the driver amongst this four that makes the next mistake. Could be the difference between being in the fight or out of it. 7 1/4 minutes to go. 4 laps. Adam Funslow, fastest time of the race, 155.882. We understand why you're here, Adam. Obviously, because our good mate Dan Yeaman, juggling real-world work commitments with his GSRC obligations, and of course, unfortunately, it doesn't always result in a friendly matchup. With him currently on his way home from work, such was the fact that he had a late finish tonight. So we're hoping to be able to do a driver change, Lavis into the cockpit, Yeaman into the producer's director chair at the end of this race. It will result in a channel change, if you like, from one YouTube feed to the other, but we're hoping to be able to bring Yeaman in for his expert comments of the supercar race at the top of the hour when that gets underway for 40 minutes here around the Ile Notre Dame. Funslow, Barker, Ben, Brookfield and Chapman at this point. Unfortunately, I'm just having a look at that, and that's... oh dear. So Adam and I have just seen the same message from Dan Yeaman. Adam able to type while I talk. And unfortunately, it's just not looking good enough for Dan Yeaman to be able to get home and join us in time after 9 o'clock. So I think Adam's resigned to the fact that he'll be here in the booth with me for the evening. And that's the point. Unfortunately, just the way the real-world commitments line up for other people sometimes, Adam's had to, like me, take a bit more of the weight, a bit more of the load this term, do a bit more of the work here on the GSRC platforms. The reality of the matter is, I know he would much rather be out there tonight, and he's probably got itchy feet just sitting here in the booth with us. But the reality of the matter is, Adam, unfortunately, we've got too much of a back catalogue with regards to catch-up broadcast at the moment. We wouldn't want to be adding any more to the plate.
Yeah, it's very tricky at the moment, but we're doing our best to try and keep everyone, all the races available for everyone to watch back and get their moment of fame on the stream. So just try and balance it all out and keep everyone happy.
I very much appreciate your efforts in keeping me in a job, quite frankly, because as I've said for a while, the GSRC platforms are my steadiest form of income, which is greatly appreciated. So, no, many hands make light work, and we don't mind taking on a little bit more work and picking up a little bit of the freight where required, and hopefully we'll have a few more personnel at our disposal in the coming weeks and months. I don't know who's stepping in with Joe Baldwin this Friday, but Liam Banks is unavailable, I think, again, related to the same thing that as Nathan Michael has yet another spin. I think he's committed to the same interstate event as someone like Ryan Jones and half of Australia, essentially, down in the sporting capital of Australia, Victoria, this weekend, the Qatar Airways Australian Formula 1 Grand Prix. I think he's just over there playing spectator as Banksy, so he'll enjoy that. But somebody else will be in here to call the action with Joe on Friday night. I would, but I'm going to be in a hotel in the nation's capital, and I don't think the hotel needs to be dealing with noise complaints that late on a Friday night. 1:55.805, Sam Chapman, fastest lap of the race. Right time to do it as well. It's now or never for Chapman. This is the second last lap. And on that subject, folks, our Thursday replay this week will most likely be next week as well. So a double up next week for the Thursday night Motorsport, as we did in week 2 and week 3. So stay tuned for that as well. To be honest, I get it, but I don't get it at the same time, Adam. Cost of living pressures at the moment. It's all very well documented just how much of a, dip into the pocket is required to go and attend something like the Grand Prix. And really, you get the best seat in the house by kicking back on the lounge. You don't miss a second of the action. You don't miss any of the excitement. You get a view of every vantage point rather than just one. Before craning your neck to look for the nearest big screen. So, hello, Richo. You're in the nation's capital. That's right. Yes, I'll be there from Friday, mate. Hit me up on Discord. I'll try and catch up with you.
Sometimes with live sport, though, it's not all about seeing everything. Sometimes it's the atmosphere and the spectacle of it. So, especially if you've never been to a Formula 1 race, it'd be one of those bucket list items to go and have a look at. So, you can definitely see why people would still want to go see it live, just for that factor.
One thing I'd like to do before I'm dead is MotoGP at Phillip Island, but by the looks of it, it's going to be this year or never. So I'm going to have to try and make that work if the old boy's interested in still going down, but it's getting harder to convince him to go anywhere at the moment. Final lap here in Canada. Funslow to the lead. Brookfield's going to play the defence mode here, and that's his role in this equation. Help Funslow out, help his championship out, try and trim the fat in the deficit to Brett Barker at the moment, and also Sam Chapman, but I mean really Barker's probably catchable, Chapman not so much. But it'll be interesting because this game will change completely when we get to the Casino Straight. This will be the 25th minute of play. This is the final lap. Checkered flag out this time by. To the right hand of the gun. Yeah, cutting New South Wales ACT titles on at the Canberra Kart Club circuit Mark Webber this weekend. Not sure who scheduled it that way, but yes, it's going ahead, and there's a good field in attendance across all the classes. And a lot of guys actually using this as the first leg of a double header. They're going to stop in Canberra on their way from various parts of Australia to go to, they'll back-to-back it. They'll do a big, long road trip. They'll start there, and then they'll continue the journey north to Coffs Harbour next weekend for the opening round of the Karting Nationals. Brookfield to the outside, Chapman to the inside of the lot of them, looking to swoop and pounce late in the piece. They've left Brett Barker behind. Final sequence of corners, Funslow's out of the fight, he's rolling too deep. Brett Barker's going to come on still third. Chapo's going to slow down. Good work, Richard Brookfield. Brookfield, Barker, then Chapman and Funslow. The two form men got left behind. Pressure. It's a funny thing. The slowdown wins again. Wowee. Lap 13 delivers the goods. Brookfield from Barker, Chapman, Funslow, Sharp, Michael, then Booth and Hansen. Wow. Another case of the chance going begging for Sam Chapman. He took way too much of the inside of the curve. Funslow did as well. Funslow just bowled it too deep into the corner. Chapman got too greedy partway through the corner. Brookfield grabs a race win. I think that's his first in the championship. And I want to confirm that to be absolutely certain. Didn't race the first 2 weeks. 6th, 3rd, 6th, 5th, 5th, 3rd, 3rd, 6th. Yep. So Richard Brookfield joins the winners list in this Oz Legends Cup Series, the Supercar support program to the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club on Wednesday Night Motorsport. Brookfield the winner, ahead of Brett Barker, who was 3rd, 4th actually coming into the final corner. The big beneficiary of the slowdown to the 4 men that had the photo finish in the first race, and Chapman actually gets one up on Funslow on that occasion. But the problem is, it's all going to come to countback, isn't it? Because Chapman lost 3 points in the first race, but gained 2 in the second to Funslow. Qualifying, I can't remember whose way that went. So it's going to come back to incident points and penalties and most positions gained and fastest laps and all that crap. Adam Lavis is going to have to crunch the numbers in just a few moments to determine the round winner. But again, Chapman's championship aspirations look very safe at the moment. Barker 2nd, Chapman 3rd, Funslow, Sharp, Michael, Booth, then Hansen, and we'll get to the other 2 gentlemen in just a moment who spent the last 8 laps of that race on pit lane, one of whom is in the booth here ready to have a chat with me as well. So I'm not sure which part I'm more interested about there. The personal tale of the tape from one G. Heaney, or actually getting a recording of the post-race team post-mortem debrief at Whiskey Business Racing, considering that he got absolutely served by Nathan Michael, with or without consent, I'm not sure, in the first race.
Evening.
Hello, Greg. I will straighten up at the end of this segment. We've got to obviously touch on some sad news that's come through in the last couple of hours. But to you, mate, good evening. Well done. Unfortunately, not without any sort of luck in the world tonight, but it was good to see you out there. You had to be in it to win it. And even though you didn't get back out there, Greg, if you had, it would have been 2 top 10 finishes.
Yeah, I know. It just wasn't working for me tonight. So look, it is what it is. And the unfortunate attempted bump draft was what it was. And I think the contact might have been a little bit skewed. So I ended up facing the wall. And apologies to Adam Proctor for me slightly rolling forwards. I didn't have my foot on the brake hard enough, apparently. And he's obviously then gone up over me and clouded into Nathan. And it was more of, there wasn't so much a post-mortem debrief. It was just a sorry from Nathan after the fact. And we were honestly laughing and giggling about it, so it was fine. And I said, look, it's all good.
I was a little worried.
No.
Because it's always awkward when you have, and this isn't just you guys. All the other teams in this caper are no stranger to this when teammates have a run-in on circuit. I mean, it is part of what we do. It's part of the puzzle, but it's never ideal.
Oh, no, of course not. But where's the fun if you don't make contact with a teammate? At least you can trade the paint off a little bit, and it's still the same colour on the other car. It just adds to the inter-house rivalry along with the inter-club rivalries.
Oh, love it. And on that subject, mate, I mean, obviously not clicking with it for you tonight, but I loved that combination. I thought Circuit Gilles, here we go, no further action. Sam Chapman contact with Adam Funslow on lap 13. Righto, we missed that. So no further action, so it'll stay Chapman 3rd, Funslow 4th. That might have been why Funslow was wide into the final corner in the first place. Greg, in saying all that, mate, I loved the track and car combination. I know not all the combinations are probably well suited to both cars, but tonight, when you don't have a short configuration here, these guys, like Formula V, look magnificent and put on a great show on the long circuit. It's just a shame that we just aren't getting the traffic in terms of bums on seats, but the quantity and quality, the quality certainly making up for the latter.
Yeah, that is true. I'm hoping we can get a bunch load more cars on track for the final round to really stack the grid at Adelaide for the Super Sprint. So that'll certainly liven it up a little bit, I think. So
Richo by design.
Yes,
Good mate from Disruptive Flames.
that.
Greg Heaney for Prim Minister. I think he means Prime Minister, but yes, Prim Minister is what it says there on screen at this point in time. And I'm just doing the Anchorman thing at the moment and just reading off the auto cue as it appears on screen. I love it. Hey, the interesting thing in all of this, mate, is we're now at week 7, that critical point where we look at the points and we add the drop rounds into the mix. It's very clear that this is Sam Chapman's championship to lose. He's just joined us for a chat in just a moment. And that will be reflected in the updated points once Adam's done crunching the figures in just a moment. But now, it's crunch time across the board here. How's the rest of the team and how are you feeling about the road ahead? I mean, yes, not necessarily in the mix here, but there's a big couple of weeks ahead of us. I think all eyes will be on Adelaide and the also-rans that make their appearance on the grid just because it's Adelaide in week 10. But then before that, the short track at Alton Park and then the full track at the Hungaro Ring.
Oh, look, I'm in it for the fun. As Brett's just posted up, I was hoping for a little bit more rain. I did maybe play God with the server and hope that we might get a bit more. And unfortunately, not as much as I was hoping. But, look, I mean, who knows? It might rain between now and Adelaide. We'll see. We are going to England after all.
Well, that's exactly right. I was going to say if you were playing a different role in all of that and actually allowing it to hose down, we would have been calling you Uncle Noah instead. But that's okay. Hey, talk to me about the rest of the week. What does it look like for you, please?
We got so Porsches tomorrow, and then supercars. Porsches tomorrow, then GTEs, and then glued to the computer on Sunday to watch the new Formula 3s drive around Albert Park, and then on to do some laps of Adelaide in a Lamborghini this time for PEL on Sunday night, and then chilling out, doing probably not a hell of a lot on Monday because it's a public holiday in Melbourne. So
I'm really glad you just straightened up there and corrected yourself. Chilling and killing, 2 very different words, even though they've got a lot of the same letters, completely different context.
I wasn't going that way. I was going another way, and I had to correct myself.
Yeah. Oh dear. Hey, the other thing as well, when we talk about this weekend, massive weekend, of course. A lot of eyes on new Formula 1 regulations and all that sort of stuff. A lot of eyes on the opening round of Carrera Cup, etc., etc. Good luck to all and sundry down there. Should be a magnificent day. And obviously, if you can't watch it live at the racetrack, you can watch it live on Fox Sports, who have just announced a multi-year extension of their Formula 1 broadcast rights, which I'm disappointed about because I was all in on Stan, swooping in and snatching it out from under their grasp, and then only for, not necessarily because I've got a Stan Sports subscription, just because of the chorus of whinging that would have followed from all the supercar rank and file that are like, oh, if it's not on KO, I'm not watching. But that would have been absolutely hilarious. Hey, great to catch up with you, Greg. Thank you for that. Good luck for the rest of the night, and we'll look forward to catching up with you after either the Porsches or the GTE. I know the boys will be in here on Friday night, Joe, and to be confirmed, actually, because neither Banksy or I are available. But enjoy that. Thanks for coming in for a chat. Better luck next week in these things.
Yeah, no worries. Cheers.
Better luck for Nathan Michael as well, because unfortunately he had good pace in the outset in the second race there, but a couple of spins really put the only chance he had. Thank you to Greg Heaney. So I'm having a small tech issue here. The internet's coming and going, so I'm going to push on. And if you lose me, you lose me. Hey, Chapo, you couldn't buy luck in any of that?
No, I couldn't really. It was, I mean, that first race, it was good. I was pace of the field, no worries. But classic, you can't stay ahead in these. And my run was almost too good onto the final straight because it gave him a chance to catch back up. So he stuck it up the inside as he should, and we went side by side and 7,000ths of a second later. Well done to Adam in that situation. And then yeah, unfortunately in that final race, once again had it well set up, but yeah, it was just rear-ended going into that final corner and pushed me into the slowdown zone. So that's unfortunate. It's, you know, I can see why race control probably went where they did. You know, I don't entirely agree, but like I can see why they probably went there, because I braked relatively early and sort of veered into that line of braking to some degree. So I would imagine that's why it's an NFA. But regardless, good racing. You know, it was fun out there. Good to have a little bit of dampness, even if it wasn't the full thing.
The interesting thing in all that is to say no further action, and mate, to be fair, that's fair. I mean, I like it when we don't have races decided in the stewards room. Photo finish in the first race, obviously you get third in the second. Again, the two wins go slipping out of your grasp in the final closing deciding stages. However, I was interested to get your thoughts, and I was explaining it to Adam Lavis and our audience at home. It's very interesting when you look at the situation here, right? You don't have to race 4 race wins, but that's who you are. You didn't go out there trying to just bank the points tonight. You wanted to win those. So I can sense a little bit of disappointment, but at the same time, glass half empty, glass half full. Championship's looking bloody good.
Championship's looking very good, and you know, I sort of look at it a different way. I'm able to race for race wins because, you know, I've got that buffer of points. So if I have to take a risk here and there, I can. So that's the benefit going into these final rounds is I do have that buffer in place. You know, we'll see where that goes. I've got decent drop rounds as well. So, but super sprint in the final, you know, you never know. So, you know, we'll keep working at it. It's still decent enough points tonight, and still what looks like 56 points out on the field. Although that fight for second looks a bit crazy at the moment.
Yeah, so how do you go about this over the next 3 weeks, knowing that you've got that little bit of a buffer to play with, knowing that the pack is coming, knowing that any race result is going to be hard fought, and you're going to have to really earn your stripes here, mate. You've laid the foundations, you've done the groundwork. Now it's about finishing it off.
Yeah, it's about finishing it off. You know, I'll just keep going with it. You know, hopefully I'll have, you know, enough time to make each of the races and get a couple of laps in beforehand. At least I largely know the next few tracks, so that's a plus.
That helps, yes.
But yeah, we'll just keep fighting the way we have been. It's been going well so far, and you know, here and there it might mean that I'll get something up, but we'll see. You know, I've got that buffer in place, so I'm relatively comfortable. As long as I don't book any overseas travel, we'll be okay. But you know, you never know with this stuff.
No, you never know at all. Now, with regards to all that, Richard Brookfield adds his name to the winners list. Adam Funslow gets another one. These boys are slowly but surely starting to master the art, but the question remains, can they catch you? And if they can, where's your Achilles heel in the next 3 weeks? Because we've got the Hungaroring in the middle, we've got Alton Park next week, and of course Adelaide's the unknown entity as far as these cars are concerned.
Oh, well, hopefully nowhere. But you know, I guess we'll see. I mean, Hungaroring's a bit of a tricky little circuit, but should be good in these. Alton, yeah, once again, it'll be a tricky little thing, but it'll be great in these sort of cars. I mean, Adelaide potentially, right? Because you never know what's going to happen on a street circuit, and you know, it's 1.5 times points. So you know, if there's anywhere where it could go drastically wrong, you know, it'd be Adelaide. So you want to make sure you've sort of banked enough points ahead by then. But yeah, we'll keep pushing with it and see if they can catch. I would say those guys, you know, Brett, Adam and Richard have all sort of improved as the season's gone on, and they've got their head around the cars a bit. So you know, I'd imagine they'll all be pretty competitive races.
Now the other thing as well, we've got just enough time to touch on this before I let you go. As I say, there's a couple of people that have departed today that we need to acknowledge, but before I let you go, we can't not acknowledge acknowledge the fact that you survived the cutthroat Porsche Pro Series pre-qualifying, and Vermilion are going to be well represented on that grid, mate. But that field, and I appreciate you sending me the screenshot of the classification through, that is just stacked with the who's who of Australasian sim racing. That is going to be one hell of a contest.
Yeah, it's going to be brilliant. You know, there's a great, you know, set of drivers within there. We're really happy as a team, obviously, to get 9 guys in out of that 40. So that should be, you know, helpful for us out there. Well, it can sometimes be helpful. It can sometimes be a hindrance. 9 people in the Discord is fairly full on. We've had that a bit in NASCAR recently. There's a lot of yapping going on. So, yeah, we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I think it will be, you know, a really good and competitive series. And yeah, obviously we've got some really quick guys, particularly Eclipse, look really strong up the front, as they always do in these sort of cars. But yeah, hopefully we can take it to them as well.
All right, mate, go and get amongst it. Good luck tomorrow night in the GT4 and the Porsche doubleheader. We're looking forward to that. And then, of course, obviously, no doubt, your plan will be to sit on the lounge and enjoy the Grand Prix like half the rest of the country this weekend as well. But can I... Oh, you'll be there. You're going... Oh, of course you are. Probably with a government car and everything, but that's okay.
Okay.
The other point is, well, actually, I was going to say, I'm actually really surprised that
Victoria can't afford government cards. Don't worry about it.
I was going to say, no, I was going down the other angle. After last week's MotoGP steal, I was actually surprised that anyone from South Australia would actually be allowed into Victoria.
No, well, you know, they have to let us. They haven't closed the borders again at this point, so they'll have to find another reason to.
Actually, on that subject, wasn't it nice to see Carl Stefanovic come out and own up, albeit 5 years too late? I probably cocked up there, was essentially what he said. I'm
not with you on this one, but I know where you're going.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not with you.
No, you're not with me, and I don't care. But the reality of the matter is, I was very happy to see him put his hand up and say, yeah, I probably should have, you know, done a little bit better in regards to how we went about that, and I agree. I haven't actually detailed my disdain for all of that wholeheartedly and in detail over the last couple of years, but it's well documented from way back when for those that followed along. Hey, great to catch up with you, mate. Appreciate that. Go well for the rest of the week. Enjoy the Grand Prix. And it's just a shame that you are going to be trackside, because if you were watching it from the comfort of your lounge, you could have started the day with IndyCar as well from Phoenix, because that's on first thing Sunday morning.
That's true. Well, maybe I can do that in the hotel. We'll see how we go. I'm going to have to... Yeah. I was actually going to try and jump in the supercars, but I've got a launch error, failed to create game process. Access is denied, so that's really good. So I'll try restarting the PC. Access is denied, so we'll try restarting the PC, and I assume I'll be starting from the back, given where qualifying's at this point. So,
yes,
this is going to be brilliant.
Our week full of technical challenges continues. I'm going to try and sort out the internet issue at my end over the next couple of minutes as well. I've got the cable running from inside out into here, but it's just not wanting to communicate at the moment, so I'm going to try and get onto the bottom of that. But before I do, can't not acknowledge the people that make it possible for us to do what we do here on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Big thanks to Disruptive Labs, Waste Options, Trophi.AI, merch.tgsrc.com, and Flash Graphics. And also, very, very sad day for Australian sport. And March 4 has a habit of doing this to us. 4 years ago, it was Rod Marsh and then Shane Warne very soon after. We got confirmation of both of those great Australian cricketers departing, albeit far too soon, and Warney a lot younger than Marshy. Today, around lunchtime, we had the news come through that one of the great broadcasters in Australian sport, Dennis Cometti, had passed away at the age of 76. It was later revealed that he'd had a brief illness. No one's gone into great detail as to what that might have been, but obviously it was kept very quiet, and the tributes have poured from near and far. Expect them to continue right throughout the opening round of the AFL, which gets underway tomorrow night and continues through Sunday. And as Greg Heaney's already alluded, there's 3 or 4 states enjoying a public holiday on Monday because we don't line up and do them in sync, obviously. So it's a little bit of a disjointed sort of weekend, this one. But then the the biggest shock, I guess, to motor racing fans came through, and this really left me a little bit numb, because I saw Auto Action reporting it first, and I didn't want to report it based on their report. I wanted to wait until a credible source had actually confirmed it. And soon enough, Speed Cafe and V8 Sleuth ran the news as well, that the younger brother of Peter, Philip Brock, Pin, as he was known to his mates, had passed away today as well. And that was more unexpected than Dennis Cometti's, given that Pin was only posting on socials yesterday. And I know that because I've had him on social media for 8 or 9 years. So we're in a little bit of shock tonight. There is no doubt about that. And I must admit, one of my very first ventures into Queensland motorsport involved hosting or emceeing a function in which he was the special guest. And he was the easiest guest to interview in my association with Queensland Motorsport, which is, probably ending at this point as well. But the reality of the matter is that Pin was great. You could ask him a question, you could go away, eat your entree, come back, and he would still be, entertaining the room. You could ask him another question, go off and eat your dinner, come back. Then you could ask him the third question, you'd go and eat your dessert and have a drink and come back. He was brilliant, and we had a really good rapport in the couple of years in which he made some cameo appearances up in Queensland. So it's really sad to hear that he has passed. I'll elaborate in more detail on that on socials in the coming days. But yes, from all of us to the family and friends of Dennis Cometti, the family and friends of Phil Brock, we say vale to those two gentlemen. May they rest in peace, and we, of course, send all of our love, our prayers, our support, our condolences to those that are really reeling at that news this evening. Of course, Cometti, famous for the AFL, most specifically, but also cricket commentary and also Olympic swimming at the 92, 96 and 2000 games in Sydney. And of course, Pin, as much of a larrikin as anybody in the paddock in Australian motorsport, never backwards in coming forwards, always had a forthright opinion and stood by it, and a very, very loyal Collingwood supporter, even though his allegiances were somewhat tied in recent years with his boys starting to play AFL football as well, albeit not for the Mighty Magpies just yet. So very sad to hear that news, and we want to say all the very best to everybody who are going to be doing it tough over the next couple of days, and may those two gentlemen rest in peace. We are going to take a break on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, and back with the Supercars from Montreal in just a moment. The platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club on a Wednesday night. A tough one, as I said before the break. Never easy when we're reporting on the departure, the exit of some recognisable figures and some legends of the caper. I mean, I'll share a couple more Phil Brock stories with you as the evening goes on. But of course, for Dennis Cometti, the voice of a generation for so many AFL fans. So a lot of people reminiscing on this Wednesday night. But as I said in the opener, the show must go on. So we're pushing forward with the supercars with thanks to Trophi.AI from the circuit Gilles Villeneuve, the Notre Dame. We start this segment with a recap of the point situation as it sits now after round 7. Now, of course, drop rounds come into the mix here. Points equation updated, points matrix amended. And that's how it looks now with the drop rounds taken into consideration. Sam Chapman still with a healthy 56-point advantage. Dead heat for second. Richard Brookfield and Adam Funslow, the two teammates. Who gets preferential treatment there with the team orders in the next couple of weeks? Who knows? Interesting. So Brookfield's won the round in all of that, having got third in Heat 1 as well. So Chapman and Funslow, that last corner, has cost them the round. Barker, then Booth, Sharp, Hanson, Jones, even despite not being on the grid tonight, holds 8th, Keane and Heaney, the top 10. Very close. Only 5 points covering 8th and 10th at the moment. The situation at play is that we're likely to get another copyright strike against our broadcast tomorrow because as soon as we mention the word supercars, the powers that be of the real world equivalent think that, oh, well, you can't be doing that because, well, the world revolves around us. However, that's the situation at play. That's the circuit. And 60% humidity at the moment, 22 the track, dry conditions, 18 the ambient, winds west to northwesterly at 20 kilometres an hour, and we're 17 minutes past 2 on March 4, 2026 local server time. The updated championship standings coming into this round after 6 rounds show Jace Douglas on top, 325, plays Luke Page 272, Alex Jazikas 233, Jake Slade 221, and Craig Bond at 191 points. Barber, Snadden, Chapman, Cullen, and Broad the top 10. And the interesting thing there is that the advantage is only 53 points at the moment. Douglas back to Page. 233 for Jazikas, 12 points over Slade, and Bondi another 30 behind that. So 134 covers the top 5 at the moment. 29 on the grid here. Ryan Jones, I did see his name in the mix, so he's made it back onto the grid despite missing the legends. Nathan Michael leads the Trophi.AI dev split at the moment by 1 point over Barber. Terry Marsh 224, Kurt Nommensen 210, Dale Sharp 206, and Adam Lavis not on the grid because he's picking up the freight for Dan Yeaman, who got left a little bit late out of work this evening. So that's the breaking news. If you're just joining us, our mate Dan Yeaman was supposed to be taking over the panel from Adam Lavis at this point. Hasn't been able to do so because he's still in transit on the way home from work, having knocked off a little bit later than what he'd previously anticipated. So the grid looks like this: Bradley Ratu, Sam Blacklock, Tyson Broad and Will Buchanan, Ryan Jones and Sam Cullen, Connor Nixon, Jake Slade, Lachlan Capel and Luke Page. That is an orbit drop there, very heavy top 10, 5 of them if you don't mind. 11th is where you find Jason Douglas, the championship leader, and that's a key point. He does need to keep banking results, but he's got so much mounting pressure now that he finds himself outside the top 10. Alex Jazikas, Dane Snadden, Kurt Nommensen, Terry Marcus Hankey. Now, Nommensen snapped the pole in the dev split there. Snadden, back on the grid, good to see. Got those Czech gremlins sorted from last week. Andy Barber, Ryan Barber, Jonathan Harris make up the top 20. Outside of that, Nathan Michael, Dale Sharp, Mitch Wood, Andrew Neal, Ash Dodson and Aaron Smith, with Jake Cowman, Sam Chapman and Matt Bailey making up the field. Not sure Chapo's actually bothered taking to the grid here. So we'll wait and see. We are set to fire. Trophi.AI Supercars, platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, an out-and-out 40-minute sprint from the Notre Dame. A compulsory pit stop included in the mix here as well, just to liven things up. Much bigger field for the legends. Will it be just as entertaining? Let's find out. Trophi.AI Supercars underway in Canada. Beautiful start. Bradley Ratu converts pole into the early lead. Down the inside, Tyson Broad gets the better of Blacklock, but Blacklock holds sway through turn 2, gets the better on the exit of 2 and will hold inside. Ryan Jones has slotted into 5th spot. Lachlan Cable's made a move early. Got by on Jake Slade. Connor Nixon has settled into 7th spot. Be interesting to see, Adam. We could get this could go one of two ways. This could be an absolute rip snorter or an absolute stinker. And it's one of those circuits. Yes, it can be in some categories hard to break the toe, but as soon as they start spreading out, it can become very isolated, very lonely, very quickly.
There's a possibility. I think tonight might also be a strategy game with trying to pick when to pit. It's not a real heavy tyre wear track, but these cars have naturally higher tyre wear and tyre drop-off. So whether the undercut or overcut is going to be the way to go, people are going to have to take the punt, and depending on their track position, try and do whatever the opposite is to make sure they can move themselves forward.
Down to the end of the opening lap. Orbit drop there, of course, dominated by Miami International Autodrome. And they hold sway here in the early stage. Slow down early. Blacklock and Broad. Have a look at this. Douglas with a slowdown. Snudden with a slowdown. Slowdowns are us on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. That will result in a lot of positional chopping and changing here early in the mix. Will Buchanan the second. Gets by Blacklock. Jones gets by Blacklock. Blacklock pulls out of it. Bails out of the accelerator and drops in behind Connor Nixon in 6th.
But he still hasn't cleared it yet. There we go.
No. There we go. That's costly. That is hugely costly. They crucify you with slowdowns around here. We've seen it so many times before. Back straight. Second time through. 2.5 minutes gone. Lap time's a lot quicker than what we saw in the Legend cars.
Yeah, Buchanan's got one.
Obviously. Oh, Buchanan. Well, Buchanan has done all the hard work and got through, and all of a sudden, it's undone. Here's the worst part, right? Bradley Ratu, gone, checking out, saying, see you next Wednesday. Catch me if you can. I'm out of here. Really relieving any foreseeable pressure on himself at this point in time. Contact and trouble at the hairpin. That's Mitch Wood off the road. And struggling to get back on. Does so at the very back. 3 seconds. Ryan Jones giving chase.
Oh, in the wall.
Oh, big one into the wall. Sam Blacklock. Wow. Sam Blacklock. It's only fitting when a champion meets the wall of champions.
Well,
have a look at how crunched up that front and rear end is.
I don't think it was him. I think it was one of the Revolution cars that got the Revolution E-Racing cars that got the wall, and unfortunately, I think they've bounced out and made contact with Blacklock afterwards. So I think he's got the domino effect there. Unfortunately, in the wrong spot, at the wrong time.
Here's the point as well, right? Here's the point. 136.845. So that's the fastest lap of the race. That's the benchmark for Bradley Ratu at the moment. And Jones under pressure here from Cullen, Nixon, Claypool, and Broad that X4 through. So that's a 5-way bottleneck at the moment for track position. Sam Cullen now picks up the slowdown. Jeez, the slowdowns are being handed out everywhere, thick and fast here. And that is a huge, hefty invoice for Cullen to the inside. He now has company in the form of his teammate Buchanan. Blacklock caught in an RER sandwich. Yep, thank you. That was unfortunate. We'll have a look at a replay shortly. But clearly, the RER stable came out of that one far worse for wear. Dane Snadden on the opening lap. Now, this is Tyson Broad.
I've got incidents for the people still doing clear in this league.
Yes, yeah, I thought you might have. Oh, dear. No, I'm lucky. We'll be here a while, folks. We'll be here a while.
This one's actually instant because Mitch Wood gets in here, yep.
Yep, Mitch Wood contact with Daniel Snedden. Not the first time. Never seen that incident tonight. Snedden in a little bit of strife early. He's Cowman now. Too deep or lighting it up on his own accord? No real incident to speak of there. Okay.
So he's pushing the area car, and the area car bounces the wall, and then domino.
Yep. So a little bit of bump draft SMSing at the one part of the circuit where you probably would want to avoid it. Bump, unsettled, and an extra bump from the rear end, and the engine squeals and spits him out the other side. Blacklock in trouble early. And Jason, sorry folks, don't know what the hell happened there. Here's Sam Cullen in 7th. I'm interested to see how quickly someone like Blacklock will come in and get that pit stop and get that fast cleared and done so he can get back on with the task at hand of trying to maximise his points haul tonight. Connor Nixon up into 2nd spot now in amongst all of this garbage. So Connor's up 5 spots, Ryan Jones is up 2. Tyson Broad is down 1. That's the 3 on screen. Behind them, Lachlan Capel and Will Buchanan and Sam Cullen.
So Connor Nixon here trying to get some good luck with his debut of his new race number.
Jones to the outside, goes deep, locks it up, 2 deep, gone. Through go the orbit drop bear trio. Nixon holds to 2nd. Broad and Cable pounce. Jones is back to 5th. All that hard work undone for Jones on the back end of this 5th lap. Down the back straight again. Whoa, squeeze job. Jones to the inside. Gets by Cable. Gloves are off in Canada. Yeah, normally as soon as you see a 9 at the front of a driver's name, you're looking for 9.5 SimSport. That's usually their caper. But we only got to 9.3 in this instance with Connor's new number. 8.5 minutes gone. 5 laps in the books. Oh, trouble. So we're probably looking at somewhere in the vicinity of 24, 25 laps here, based on those numbers, and that's the championship leader, Terry Marsh, in trouble. Probably 24 laps. Well, yeah, too hard to definitively say 24 at this point, but if it's not 24, she might be 25. 96, 97 seconds a lap. Blacklock contact! Is that Sharpie? Oh no. So Blacklock in his 2nd major incident of the night, and that one is limping back to pit lane. Sharpie's on the tow rope, he's done. And that is so disappointing for Sam Blacklock that's the way the night will end. Kazikis and Slade arguing over the same piece of real estate. Or is Slade... Actually, no, I think Slade's having some Blinky Bill issues. That's why he's jumping up and down my leaderboard. Either that or I'm having Blinky Bill issues. I'm not sure. 10 minutes gone. 6 laps in the book. Okay, so 24 is pretty much where we're going with a splash and dash. No, that's exactly right, Greg Heaney. Nice to have you chime in from the comments section. You cannot park there. Kurt Normanson down the inside. To get by Ryan Barber, couldn't do it. Hank holds the lead in the dev split at the moment. It's Marcus, of course. He's gapped these guys to the tune of about 3.1 seconds. Yours truly's just had your number one of the evening. Not because of the racing, ladies and gentlemen. Fatigue is firmly... she might be one of those short, rapid-fire post-race shows tonight, but at the same time, it's good to have 29 blokes here to talk to. How many took the start in the end? 27. Blacklock back on pit road and done. I don't think we'll be seeing anything. Sharpie's done as well. Hugely disappointing for those guys. Sharp could get back out there, but it'll amount to nothing. Blacklock could get back out there and make up the numbers, essentially, but again, it amounts to nothing. Jeez. Is it just me, or is that feed actually Blinky Bill for everyone as well, Adam? Copy. The main reason I wanted to make sure it was not just my end, as Adam knows, is I amended my internet settings partway through the intermission just to try and keep the cable connection a little bit more intact and firm. Intermittent as it was during the Legends race. A bit hit and miss. Hopefully not a repeat of the issue we had on Monday night, but it's the week for tech issues, isn't it? Week 7. Lucky for some, lucky for others. Or unlucky for others. It's iRacing. Yeah, copy. Ratu, Jones. Have a look at Ratu's advantage. 8.7 seconds. Cash the check now. Jones is second. Broad, Nixon, Capel. And Buchanan pounce on Nixon. Nixon had a slowdown, I reckon. I hope I'm right. That looked far too easy for Cullen and Buchanan and Capel. Otherwise. Really tight battle pack for second and beyond, but I mean, Bradley Rudder was doing that Dench-esque sort of numbers on this competition. This is Dench-esque behaviour. Just checking out in a canter, and we often said when Denchy was here that it was the Dench split, then the Pro split, then the Dev split. Or GT3 Elite compared to GT3 Pro. That's the sort of demoralising job that Bradley Rudder is doing at the moment. Here's Jake Slane, blocking it up, and deep, and too deep, and gone. See you later. We apologise, folks, not much we can do about this one at the moment. Connor Nixon. Now Andy Barber on screen. 9.2 the advantage at the moment. Jones still under pressure from Broad, Capel, Cullen, and Buchanan and Nixon, but Capel and Cullen can't really afford to blink here, because if they do, they'll lose the toe of Broad and Jones. They'll lose contact with them. There it makes it hard to get yourself back into the fight. Take this opportunity to lubricate the tonsils. Adam Lavis, your observations so far, your thoughts on it all?
Hey, I think it's definitely there's lead group here trying to balance the racecraft, but minimise the slowdowns, because that's the thing. It's one of the things with this track. The slowdowns are the what can be a defining feature. So avoiding them at all costs, but while still trying to maximise your lap time, is a tricky balance to strike. And see they're starting to go now, but it's really even extra hard when you get up really close to someone's bump bar, because you lose a bit of your peripherals, and it's very easy to just get that slightly a little bit more of a cut somewhere and trigger that annoying penalty.
Hopefully, I am still audible for the benefit of everybody at home. I've reverted to standing up now that the yawns have started, but as I detailed a little bit earlier, fatigue was always going to kick in at some point, not because of the quality of racing, but because it's been a very busy 2 days, transiting from the prehistoric state to progressive civilization. I'll have more to say about that. 15 minutes gone. Connor Nixon in 7th spot at the moment, chasing Will Buchanan. On the comeback trail here is Connor. Just confirming as well news from down in pit lane. Blacklock holding on to Dear Hope in pit lane. He's been there for 3 laps. I don't think he's coming back out, so he's going to be listed as a DNF. Dale Sharp has got back out there, but he's a lap and a half down on the leaders. So seriously costly night for Dale as far as his aspirations are concerned in the Dev split. Ratu Jones 9 seconds, that margin holding steady. Capel, Broad, Cullen, Nixon, Buchanan, Page, Douglas and Slade. Rinty Zingas in 11th. There's Kurt Normanson, 3rd still in the Dev split, but the margin, unfortunately. So we've got 2 very clear-cut leaders here, Adam. That's the problem we've got at the moment. Marcus Henke's out remarkably comfortably, 5 1/4 seconds on Ryan Barber and Kurt Normanson, who is fending off Andy Barber, who's not in their split at the moment. And so that's, 4.8? No, sorry, 5.1. And then Bradley Ratu, 9 seconds, pretty much on the nose to Ryan Jones. So the 2 leaders are a cut above at the moment.
Yeah, they've managed to have a good lucky break at the start of the race there. Barber's case, he managed to have a couple of elite split guys split him in the rest of the field, and he's now let them go and just maintaining his gap, whereas Ratu had the opposite effect of having the slowdowns do the work for him for that first part, and he's added to it though, because the slowdowns gave him about a 3 or 4 second lead, and he's doubled it since then, so he's just out in front drinking all his milk and trying to bring it home.
Down to the hairpin once more. 18 minutes gone, 22 to go. Pit stops. We're firmly in the window now. Ratu, another lap in the books. Speaking of slowdowns, indeed. Jones and Broad have both got one. Jones and Broad have both got one. Advantage Lockie Capel. There he goes to the inside. Capel goes to 2nd. The winner of the German round of the Pro Series qualifying campaign. Flexing his muscle here just a little bit firmer in GSRC land right now. More slowdowns. Normanson and Barber.
Normanson,
That'll cost Kurt because...
I think he probably should have watched it a little earlier, because now he's going to lose a spot here.
Yeah, and more than that, mate, it's costly in 2 respects. One, he loses contact with Ryan, and he's also got... Oh, Andy's just let him go, so Andy's seen that he's not in the mix and not in the fight in a different split.
He had to slow down as well, but I thought he
might
have...
go, but still, the damage has been done because...
Yeah, it is. I thought Andy might have just quite cleared enough to clear it first, but he just didn't quite get there. So yeah, the positions were maintained, but obviously distance expanded. So we'll see if these guys can bunch themselves back up during the pit stop phase.
That margin is out to 3 seconds at the moment between Barber and Normanson, Ryan Barber and Kurt Normanson. So 3.6, and it was nose to tail. So that's how costly that's been. Luke Page comes to pit lane, reride with Connor Nixon chasing Will Buchanan. Ford versus Chev. Connor not yet entertaining the idea of a lunge down the inside.
From the onboard here, it looks like pretty much all those previous corners from the on the straight there. It looked like Buchanan was pushing a little hard into the corner, running a little wide. Connor was getting the nice tight exits and getting those runs. So I think Will just needs to just calm down a little bit here, focus on his lines, and he should be right.
Let's crank up the volume and listen to the Mustang hard at work here. Let's ride with Connor for a little bit here. Just before things get interesting, we really need to focus on what's going on down pit lane. We've got a chance here to just focus on this battle pack and just have a look at how busy it is, because you got Connor trying to chase Will, and they're 3 seconds away from that next battle pack. But one, slowdown for Cable, Jones or Broad. These guys are back in it. Let's go for a lap. Connor Nixon. So, obviously, Connor's found out that ladies and gentlemen, and crumbled under the pressure. Commentator's curse strikes again. Have a look at this. The gloves are off here. We've gone a little bit further up the road to pick up Jones getting into the side of Cable. Jones, Cable and Broad having at it. Gloves are off. Contact! There goes Cable. There goes Jones. They somehow save it. Broad will be the beneficiary of all of this garbage. Ronald's trying to get down the outside of Jones, but Jones has the line on the inside. Are they coming to pit lane this time? By no, they're not. They're banging doors, bang to the wall. Always going to happen. You know how race control was having a really cruisy night with the legends? Not anymore. What the hell? Going two of them going to the same corner. I reckon there was also a little bit of argy-bargy in the sense that I reckon one of them might have wanted to come to pit lane and that opportunity was firmly denied. Capel and Buchanan have gone to pit lane. In fact, there's been a lot of pit lane activity in the last lap and a half. We'll cover that off in more detail in a moment. And, sorry. Oh, Jones to the inside, big dive, got by. Broad back around the outside, contact again. Have a look at these two. Door to door, exchanging painting like we haven't seen in a while, especially on the Supercar series. We've got a live one tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Unbelievable. Brett Normanson went through pit lane that time round. Will Buchanan lock on Capel. Page started all of this with Slade back on lap 12. Last time through, whilst we were trying to ride with Nixon, up to Douglas, Cullen, and also Hankey that came in. Marsh, Barber, Normanson have all been in. Barber, Wood and Dodson have all been in. Although, have a look at Ash Dodson if you don't mind, Adam Lavis. I think he's gone back out on the wet. And God only knows why. That's the info I'm getting off my tab at the moment, off my timing screen. In comes Jones, in comes Broad. These two, I'm not sure they're going to be reporting here straight away. I think there might be some of the race control after all of that. I mean, as much as it's entertaining for us and as much as it's probably giving off NASCAR vibes, that's just not how we play the game around here. So race control will be having a look at that, I'm sure. Both into the pit box. Blacklock has got back out on the racetrack, 6 laps down. Dane Snadden on pit road, a lap down, and has been on pit road. Oh, yeah, you're right. Sam Cullen did get into the side. Oh, jeez. Cullen got into the side of Nixon, and then he's looped it. He'll get done for a slowdown for an unsafe pit entry as well, so that adds insult to injury. And then, yeah, Blacklock's 6 laps down, still on pit road. Dane Snadden 2 laps down, still on pit road. In comes Michael and Neil, that time through. Bradley Ratu, the only one yet to stop at the front of the field, leads by 37 seconds. That'll balance out, but still firmly in his favour. These two have rejoined pretty much exactly where they left off and renewed hostilities on the racetrack. Buchanan Jones, Buchanan's there, top of shot. 3.3 seconds on the slot. These crazy lunatics. Jones, Broad and Capel. Jones is outnumbered here, but he's holding his own beautifully. Broad and Jones, Broad to the inside. Back we go. Righto, try and contain yourselves this time, gentlemen. Connor Nixon in all of that. Where the bloody hell did Connor drop to?
He disappeared. I think
yes, he disappeared. He's gone. He's just dropped off out of the race. Yep, that's a good pickup.
He entered the pits and then basically jumped the pit. So whether he got a speeding penalty or something in the pit lane, but yeah, he just as soon as he went in the pit lane, he teleported out.
Down the outside, Jones. Are they going to come together again? A third time? No. Civil through there on that time around. Sheep Stations, Jones, they're in 4th position at the moment. Oh dear. Broad and Capel have boxed him in. Broad was wide, running through turn 1. And Will Buchanan the big beneficiary in all of this, Adam, because he's jumped up beautifully into 2nd.
And just keeping his nose green during that pit phase and got himself a nice healthy 5-second gap over these guys who are battling very hard. So I might just see, we'll just see if we can see if Ash Dodge has put wet tyres on you.
Yes. Well, I don't know what the invoice is for pit lane sequence in the supercars, but 19.27 seconds is on the box there.
They still look like slicks graphically, so it might be just SDK error.
It might just be. So Dane Snadden has a slowdown to his name as well. Wowee. That set off a chain reaction of events. Red gloves off, the action intensifying. But Biff and Barge at an all-time high in this series. And somehow everybody's still pointing in the same direction, the right direction, pointing straight. We're on lap 18. Bradley Ratu has stopped. He come in and out and still has an 8 3/4 second advantage on Will Buchanan.
Well, Dodgson is about 5 seconds lap slower than everyone else, so he might be away. It's up till.
Copy. So Andrew Neil, there on the inside. On his outside is Daniel Snedden, of course. Snedden with the draft, but Neil with the line, and geez, also very close to contact, those two. There have been a couple of near misses tonight. And there's another one. Neil with a slowdown this time through. Snedden goes through. Takes Aaron Smith with him. Sorry, Mitch Wood, I should say. Wowee. Just going back to just dropped off the face of the planet, so it's not going to plan for all drop there tonight. They've only got 3 in the top 10 right now, and 2 bringing up the very tail of the field. 1, 3, and 5, those 3 men. Ratu, Buchanan, Broad, Jones, Capel, your top 5. And still Broad holding sway for that final spot on the podium. championship leader, Jason Douglas, 9th. But this is what I said to Yeaman last week, Adam. He's done the hard yards, he's done the groundwork, right? Made the most of the opportunity presented to him in the absence of all the heavyweights that have been off first in the pre-qualifying series for the Logitech G Pro Invitational for our colleagues over at the Australian Sim Racing Group. And he just now needs to tick the boxes and keep banking consistent points. I don't know if 9th classifies as consistent. We'll see when it comes back, what it looks like when we crunch the numbers a little bit later on and the drop rounds come into the equation. But he just needs to keep banking finishing results and hope for the best at this point. Traffic moving to the right hand side there, halfway down the casino straight. There was one car I think just firmly bailing out of it there for a moment. So Jones and Broad have taken off and left Cable behind. Cable under pressure, vulnerable to Page. Slade is 7th, Cullen is 8th, Douglas and Tzidakis the top 10. Chapman up 17 spots from the rear of the grid, so he did join. He did join the grid from the very rear, didn't qualify, and now he's up 17 and on the cusp of the top 10 finish. Leader of the open split, after a couple of very consistent and very underwhelming performances last week, an off night, you could say, for Terry Marsh. He's restoring order tonight. He had won 2 rounds going into last week, and just it couldn't have gone worse for him. He caught up in 2 incidents, had a couple of different issues, and it was just very uncharacteristic. He's bounced back in a big way. He leads Marcus Henry by 3.77 seconds as the leader of the Devs split right now. Oh, here we go. Dane Snadden with the black flag now, and Barb with the slowdown flag as well. Snadden's a lap down. In fact, that's the other thing as well. Dodson, Smith, Sharp, Snadden, Cowman, all a lap down. Blacklock's done. He can't factor in the mix here. He can't be classified on 75%. We are looking at 24 laps, ladies and gentlemen. Bradley Ratu's on. Actually, you know what? There's an outside chance. There is an outside chance that we will sneak in a 25th lap. It will require about a minute and a half of overtime. But there is the outside chance that Bradley Ratu's going to take us to 25 laps. Up and under Luke Page. That's for track position. Page displaces Cable and goes to 5th. The one thing they're all going to whinge and moan about, Adam, the slowdown.
It's one of the things with this track. There's a few tracks on the service where slowdowns are a big factor, and this is one of them. So it's one of those ones where if you just push that a little bit too hard, you get punished real hard, real fast. But there is also a thing about knowing how to serve your slowdown and minimise the time loss. So it is also a good knowledge. Oh, I've lost. Cable's gone wide.
He has, and that's going to bring a slowdown his way. That's going to give Luke Page some real serious breathing space and make Capel vulnerable to Slade and Cullen. Whew. There's a lot going on out there all of a sudden. It was just simmering, and now all of a sudden it's just one thing's led to another, and all of a sudden we can't keep up with it. Chain reaction, chain of events, dominoes falling all over the bloody place. How good's this? 6:40 on the west coast, 9:40 on the east coast. Except Queensland, where it's 8:40, and also the year 1914. Across the line we go, 20 to 12, of course, for our friends across the ditch in New Zealand. 3 to go. next time by the line for Brad Ratu. The threshold is a minute 37, so a minute 37 and 2 is 3:14. So 3:14 from 40 is 36 minutes. 36 minutes and 46 seconds. That's the threshold. Ratu's half a lap from the finishing line at the end of the 22nd lap. He should get 3 to go.
He's a big talking point. Somehow Terry Marsh, after his spin, has managed to get back to the lead of the dev split.
Yeah, I was just talking about that earlier. Marsh in the lead. So after a couple of off weeks, a couple of off races rather, last week, and I apologise, I'm struggling with my setting structure at the moment. It's kicking in, but I'll get to the end because that's what professionals do. But what a way to bounce back. He, by his own admission, just didn't gel with the Miami circuit, and he's got back to the lead of this dev split, and by, well, it's only half a second at the moment, so he's been reeled in by Marcus Hankey. So keep an eye on this. Hankey did stop later, and also stopped longer. So Hankey's probably compromised himself here, and might have the pace to get by Marsh, but and probably the better tyre wear as well. But Marsh is in the most pivotal position here. He's got track position. He can play defence if he needs to. He can make life as hard or as easy as he likes as possible for Hankey to try and keep him at bay. You'd rather be a leader in this fight. You'd rather have track position and trying to defend rather than trying to mount an attack this late in the piece. Track position is king, because even though there's great slipstreaming opportunities around here, as we've already seen, overtaking's not straightforward, and as soon as you end up making a mistake, you pay a hefty price in the form of a slowdown. Now, on that subject, we've got Ash Dodson back on pit lane, and that's terminal by the looks of that. He's been there for 50 seconds on the wet compound tyre. Night that probably promised a lot and delivered very little for Ash with that simple 101 error of taking the wrong compound at the pit stop. And it's not over yet. There's still a couple of laps to go. Ratu will get back to the line. We will get 2 to go. So that's going to cruel Capel. There goes.
Every time he pulls away from these two Revolution Esports guys, he does a slow down and puts himself back with them.
And they will make life difficult for him as best they possibly can on this final lap. Slade's already gone through. He's vulnerable to Cullen. Oh boy. 2 to go. Oh, that's hairy. Now they're 3 wide down the main straight. How did they get away with that? Up the inside, Jake Slade and Sam Cullen have swooped. Slade's going to lose out to Capel on the inside at 1, and Cullen has come from nowhere to be 6th. Slade back to 8, Capel wedged in the middle. Piggy in the middle in the sandwich here. Repeat of the Revolution E-Racing sandwich at this point. Not sure what type of meat this might be. Beef, might be pork, might be lamb. Don't know, don't care. But that is where Lachlan Capel finds himself right now. White flag flies next time by. Bradley Ratu in a canter in Canada.
Well, I would say Canada. He got himself a slowdown. I think he was trying for fastest lap.
Well, he's got that. And I think he's okay. But the interesting thing in all of this is Will Buchanan's benefited from all that argy-bargy with Broad Jones, etc.
Capel's got another slowdown.
Nixon et al. That's to the advantage of Jake Slade now that Capel's got that 3rd slowdown.
Oh,
White flag flies. Bradley Ratu's on his way home with 20 seconds to go.
Where do you think Barney is tonight?
Taking a vacation.
He's in the casino.
Oh, yeah, that'd be right. Spending money quicker than he makes it. I thought it was a volunteer gig. iRacing obviously lining his pockets very nicely with casino cash. So he's not even on site at the circuit. He's over in the water. Yeah, great, lovely. How good. Into overtime we go. But the battles are just about sorted out here, folks. Broad and Jones, keep an eye on them. On the run home here. This is for this final spot on the podium. It'll either be 3 different teams on the podium or it'll be 2. Because Broad will make it 2 orbit drop bear entries. Jones would make it 3 individual different teams being represented. These two have had a really good ding-dong. I enjoyed watching them take the gloves off. Have at it. It was fierce, it was hard fought, and inevitably, for the most part, it was clean. It was fair game, play on, Robbins Racing, thanks for coming. All right, very NASCAR-esque, but we're in Canada, so that works. Maybe not necessarily, the ethos of our rule book, but I'm all for it. I love when we have that friendly fire. This guy has been in a league of his own, however, tonight. Bradley Ratu, last turn, checkered flag, chalk up a 10-second victory at the Ile Notre Dame for he and Orbit Drop Bear Motorsport. Bradley Ratu victorious in round 7 of the Trophi.AI Supercar Series. Wow. Second we'll get to Will Buchanan. That was a clinical drive from him as well. Just played the patient game, kept himself out of harm's way, out of all the argy-bargy, kept his nose clean, avoided incidents, and benefited greatly with second at the end of the day. That was the reward for patience and perseverance. Broad, Jones, Page, Cullen, Slade, Capel ruining those slowdowns late in the piece. In fact, already exited the server. He's gone. Then Douglas for 9th again. Yeah, it's interesting. It's like the wheels have gone off, and it's not the case. As I say, he was the front runner early. He was the benchmark early in the piece. He's got a championship lead. He's trying to wrestle, hold, and keep in his grasp. But there's no denying the fact that the faster guys have arrived, they've made their statement, they're making their mark, and they're making inroads. I'm not now sure that consistent finishes are going to be enough for Douglas to hold on to the championship lead by the time we get to week 10. Tazikis in for 10th, Chapman a great recovery up into 11th in the end. Terry Marsh, Marcus Hankey and Ryan Barber. So well done to Terry Marsh, held off Hankey in the end 1.3 seconds. And Terry Marsh gets his 3rd win in 4 weeks in the dead split of the Trophi.AI Supercar Series.
Sned's out of fuel.
Snedden is out of fuel. He's going to cough and splutter, hopefully, over the line. Oh, come on, Daniel. Come on, Daniel. Get there, son. Oh, no, that's agonising to watch. He's there. Good boy. Oh, dear. That's heartbreaking to watch, really. There's always one that runs it just a little bit too short. A little bit too fine line of margin, too tight for comfort. Then having a look through all of that, Kurt Nominson just misses out on a podium. Andy Barber, Nathan Michael, that's in Dev Split, of course. Mitch Wood, Andrew Neal, and Daniel Snedden made up the top 20. Outside of that, if we can go over the page, Adam, sorry. I'm hoping we can go over the page. Dale Sharp a lap down, so too Aaron Smith, so too Dane Snadden was 2 laps down. Jake Cowman was the winner of the to be confirmed split, so we'll work out where he's going at the end of the night. Then a low on juice, Daniel Snedden, yeah, exactly right. Then Ash Dodson was, even though Cowman finished 2 laps down, it's important to note, Ash Dodson will get classified because he was in the server at the end of the night. And completed 75% race distance, which was 19 laps. Connor Nixon and Sam Blacklock, the 2 retirements of the evening. Matt Bailey and John Harris, the 2 non-starters of the evening. Will Buchanan's here. Terry Marsh is here. Tyson Broad's already entered the building. Elvis has entered the house, ladies and gentlemen. And then Kurt Nominson as well. So Will Buchanan standing by, Terry Marsh, Kurt Nominson, Marshy back in Victor's lane as far as the dev split is concerned. But I want to start with Tice because, I mean, Bradley Rudder's just come in, checked up, cleaned out, and taken everybody, to the cleaners, essentially. Cleared out, cleaned up, I should say. poor set structure on my part, mate. So he got himself in a clear space and just went on with it. Dominant win for him, dominant win for the team. But unfortunately for him, you and bloody Jonesy stole the show with some good old-fashioned biff and barge. I enjoyed watching it. I'm sure Race Control will enjoy having a look at it as well, just to see if there's any reason to reprimand the pair of you. But at the end of the day, mate, it was fierce, it was hard fought, it was mostly clean, it was fair, it was entertaining. I'm sure you and Jonesy were probably amused by it all as well.
Not really, Zach. Very interesting driving standards, but yeah, just happy for the win for Brad, and yeah, happy with my P3 as well. So yeah, we roll on.
Well, it would have been nice, considering the obvious frustration in your voice there, but it would have been nice to in the end hold off Jonesy, considering that he was the main protagonist tonight in that battle between you pair. Unfortunately, Connor's had an issue. We know about that. Lachlan Cable's attracted enough slowdowns to make him never want to see a slowdown again. So really, just the two of you left to fly the flag on the podium. And the only, I guess, pitfall made in all of that is all of that squabbling has allowed Will Buchanan to leapfrog everybody with not just good strategy, but also just staying out of trouble.
Yeah, I did actually hold off Jonesy at the end after getting out of the pits ahead of him. No, actually, I got past him. But yeah, no. Also credit to Will, because he's really picked up the pace as of late. I think at one point in Scobs, I think I saw him like in the teens in that field, which this time last year, I don't even think he would have believed he could do. So fair credit to him for really upping his pace over the last 12 months.
Well, absolutely right. From your standpoint, mate, I mean, obviously frustrated with the squabbling. I mean, from an entertainment standpoint, from a spectator standpoint, you can understand obviously why that has caught our attention and has obviously caught our interest and our excitement. That's not how you guys obviously like to go racing, but it could have ended a lot worse. So I guess it's quid pro quo the fact that you were able to withstand all of that, get through it, get to the other side, and still see the checkered flag.
Yeah, it was good to finish the race tonight. Looking forward to things ahead. What's the next one?
Excuse me. Speaking of things ahead, that was a big hit for Sam Blacklock. Can we talk about that for a moment? The biff and barge really started there because there was a knock-on effect. He got checked up with the Revolution e-racing boys, and obviously as he's checked up, he's got poleaxe on the way through. So it was a really unfortunate mess, that one, and that put pay to his charge, and he had good pace early as well. But the Wall of Champions claims yet another number one.
Yeah, unfortunate for Sam there. But yeah, no. Not really sure where I'm going with that one.
That's all right, mate. The thing I want to ask you now is, obviously, better busy time for the team. No doubt you would have been trying your hat to the ring with the Porsche Pro Invitational pre-qualifying as well. Get your thoughts on that in a moment. Next 3 rounds here, I think from memory, Alton Park, Hungaroring, Adelaide Street Circuit. Which of those are you most looking forward to? Which of those are you most fearful of?
Probably Adelaide, because that's the only one I can actually turn up to at the minute. And also at the back end of last year, I had a very good V8 pre-round there. So yeah, really looking forward to slapping that on. But yeah, didn't bother with P Cup Pro qualifying.
Did any of the team throw their hat into the ring or not?
Yes, so I think we got 3 or 4 cars in with Capel, Ben Woods, Lockhart Brownlee, and I believe Scotty Rankin made it in.
excellent. It was news to me that he was actually pre-qualifying in the first place, because last I was aware he was going to be calling the action with me, but no, he wants to go racing, and good luck to him. Don't worry, we've got a very good commentary team lined up for that one. In light of that, ladies and gentlemen, and that'll be good, because some Wednesday nights he'll be calling the supercars, and then other Wednesday nights he'll be racing the Porsches. So I can't wait to pick his brain about that. And nice little bit of recruitment on your part, having Rankin part of the helm.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously a good character in the team, and yeah, pretty decent steerer as well.
Absolutely. Hey, what's next for you? Obviously, you've got the next 2 weeks off. Is that because of work commitments, mate?
Next week's due to work, but then the following week I'll be spotting, I believe, Mr. Blacklock for round 1 of V8 Pro.
Yes.
So, yeah, I'll be looking after him for that.
So in other words, mass orbit drop bear exodus from this series in week 9.
Yes, that would probably be the case. I don't know if some of the other boys who aren't in the series want to throw their hat in for that one, but yeah, for the 3 guys out there tonight, outside of Connor Nixon, those guys will be off.
Well, Connor will be due some luck by that point, because he had none tonight, unfortunately. Hey, the interesting thing will be, I guess now, from our standpoint, how that little feud that played out tonight on circuit between you and EPR, or Ryan Jones specifically, how that either fizzles or escalates over when we get to the Adelaide Street Circuit in a couple of weeks. I mean, you've won round 1, but I'm sure there's fuel in the fire to go out and do it again, and maybe from Jonesy's standpoint, he might want to come in here and try and square up the ledger.
Nah, hopefully I'll be a couple of seconds up the road, so I won't have to deal with it. So, yeah, nah.
Last one from you, because I'll move to your teammate in just a moment, but all of that squabble, did anyone have the pace to go with Bradley tonight, or was that all compromised and undone because of the early squabble? Did you have the pace? Had you been able to get the clear air earlier or not?
I might have had the pace to be probably within about 5 seconds of Brad, but I don't know if I would have had the pace to actually challenge him. I feel as though maybe Blacklock had the pace to challenge. But yeah, obviously he got taken out early after a slowdown and a couple of incidents.
Indeed. All right, mate. Very interesting sort of evening, Nat. We'll let you go and cool off. Thanks for having a chat with us. Thanks for being a good sport about that. Well done on the podium finish, mate. I know, obviously not the W, and obviously you would have loved to have got a Team 1-2 there, but third still a podium, and in a series where you guys have already obviously made it very clear that this is not the bread and butter of what you're doing this season. To see you still turn up and be competitive is nice from our standpoint, and we know you guys enjoy being competitive when you do turn up as well. So good luck with obviously work commitments next week. Good luck with the opening round of the Pro Series the week after that, and we'll see you for week 10.
Yeah, thank you. Just thanks to all the boys at ODBM and our sponsors in Revolution Race Gear and iLiveries.
There he is. One of the GSRC broadcast team, actually. One and the only Tyson Broad. Thanks, mate.
Worries.
Terry Marsh is standing by. Will Buchanan's here. Kurt Nomenson's here. Bradley Ratu's here. Your teammate couldn't get out of the house quick enough. A bit spicy, a bit shirty. I want to pick your brain before we talk about just, the Matt Dench-esque performance that you put in this evening. Because you've just come in here and carved everybody up and tore them to shreds. And well done on that, by the way. But I could imagine that the Discord feed and your inner team chat thread would have been rather lively this evening. Talk us through that.
It was a little bit lively, you're correct. Yeah, it was. I'm not exactly sure what happened with the initial contact with Sam. I just looked at my mirror at one point and he wasn't there anymore. But I gotta go look through and have a look myself to see what happened. I know I did see what happened to him at turn 1, which whatever car it was moved across in front of him a little bit. But I'm not sure what else happened, but I could definitely hear things were happening.
Absolutely. If you stay tuned long enough, I'm sure you'll see the replay of what happened to Sam Blacklock in just a few moments, mate. But it's interesting, isn't it? Like I've been talking about the pressure that's mounting on Jason Douglas with you guys just coming in, bagging the results, snatching precious championship points away from his title aspirations. But it's very clear that you guys aren't going to be here in week 9. Who the hell knows what's going to happen in week 10? We know that Tice isn't here next week. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, whether we can keep bagging enough points and just finishing and staying consistent to a point over the next couple of weeks to finish this job off. But it's not going to be without some mounting pressure and no doubt some anxious, nervous moments for him. The fact that you guys are coming in, not necessarily vying for the championship, but still, definitely being competitive on the occasions that you are able to be on the grid. That does, we talk about it all the time, mate. Making, breaking, and shaping the championship. The fact that you guys are always competitive, but you're not necessarily hunting for the big prize.
I mean, I won't be here on week 9 when Pro Series is on because I'll be racing in it.
Right.
But the other weeks, I mean, I think I'll be here. I'm not really sure, but I'm not up to date with the championship points at the moment. I'm not really sure where we sit versus. I think you said it was Chase Douglas. Hopefully he can do well when we're not there, and even when we are around, he can still bag some points and have a bit of a championship fight at the end of the season. Obviously, he's got to keep his cool and keep his car clean and do the best he can to get those results, and so do we. We got to do the same thing when we're around. Adelaide's an easy track to crash at. Alton Park, I can't even remember what that track is. Hungaroring, I mean, you're not likely going to crash there. Unless you get human torpedoed into the hairpin like I was in Pro Qual, but it's still quite a few races to go yet and still a lot of opportunities for it.
From your standpoint, mate, I mean, obviously it's nice when it all goes to plan, right? But are you happy that you were able to go out there and just have a lonely, elongated 40-minute training run, albeit in a race server? Or would you have liked to have been back in the mix and actually, fighting for position and just having that out-and-out brawl and contest? What sort of door-to-door racing or racecraft do you prefer on any given night?
I mean, I do prefer battling, especially when it's Sam. I don't particularly want him to be crashed out. If I'm going to win, I want to beat him for it. It was unfortunate that, I looked up in the mirror and he's just nowhere to be seen. From there on in, I kind of knew that it was just going to be a little bit of a lonely race. It looked like some people did have a bit of pace, but they kept on getting slowdowns. I mean, there was no need for me to rush my laps and get slowdowns myself. But hopefully next time Sam and I can come together and even some other people on track and have a bit of a battle and see how it goes.
Exactly. Although that being said, we know that there's been occasions in the past where that actually hasn't really worked for you either, mate. It's nice to see that. I mean, we've been saying it all the time, Bradley. There's been such a mixed bag of results for you here on the platforms of the GSRC, but we've been, reliably informing the audience at home that, you just need a clean break and a little bit of luck to fall your way. You are a competitor. You are a hot shot. Most of the orbit drop air stable are, let's be perfectly honest. Like, you don't have any mugs in your ranks. You just need a little bit of luck to fall your way to be able to show just how competitive you can be. And tonight was that night.
Yeah, it's not just this series that I have a fair bit of bad luck come my way. It's pretty much everywhere I race.
I was going to say that. Yep.
Yeah, it's Pro Series. It's anything else that I'm behind the wheel of. I could be doing my own thing, and again, just like Hockenheim, beaming torpedo into the apex of the hairpin. So
Yep.
It's always been. Basically, bad luck is me to a T. If there is anyone known for bad luck, I'm probably on that list. Throughout my entire sim racing, I'll say career, I've been on the bad end of quite a few things where I've been quite innocent. But I mean, I can't do anything about it. Sometimes you just look in the mirror at random and I'm about to die, so you open the steering wheel. But when a car comes from a long way back and your focus is the apex, sometimes you just get cleaned up.
Indeed you do. I mean, obviously a bit hard to talk about the overall race because it looked like a very clean and trouble-free run for you. But from your standpoint, what was the difference for you tonight between you and the rest of the pack, mate? I mean, obviously great to see the FORDs on top. Was it just the fact that you were able to break away from everybody that led to such a dominant winning margin?
I mean, I've got a fair bit of experience at this track. Not so much in this car. I was saying earlier, I don't actually think I've driven here in this car. But I've driven it in the Gen 2. V8 Scops, V8SC, lots of older series used to race here back in the day. So the concept doesn't really change with how you drive it. If anything, it's in a way a little bit easier in these cars because I think these cars are a little bit better over the curbs. But obviously you don't have the downforce, so it's a little bit of a trade. Beyond that, I had done, obviously in practice in the server and stuff, I'd done hot laps. I hadn't actually gone past 2 or 3 laps yet on the setup. Which thankfully it didn't get any harder to drive beyond those 2 or 3 laps for me. I was able to gel or at least figure it out mostly in the first stint, and then by the second stint, I think I had it pretty well down pat, but 15 or 10 second lead or something. So I wasn't really pushing as hard as I could, but it was still a really good setup, and I believe the setup was actually made by Blacklock, which he's done a really good job on this one.
Indeed, he has. Nailed it. Quick comment from you. I mean, obviously it didn't harm you in any way, shape or form, but I get the feeling that there would have been a lot of discussion, even though it was probably a known factor in terms of the trip-up points of racing at this track. One of those little imperfections is that here more than most, those slowdowns absolutely crucify you. I'm sure that would have been a talking point amongst your teammates there on various occasions throughout the 40 minutes.
Yes, the word slowdown followed or preceded by
4-letter words.
In particular,
yes.
yeah. That happened a few times. I
love it.
I've been there myself. And obviously when I first started learning this track, it's easy to do it, but with the experience like some people have in the field, you kind of know where you need to be. I think the last time I drove this track, I think the off tracks and that were different. I think you couldn't use any of the curbs, for example, in the last chicane. I think that was here. So I don't know how long ago that was. And that really sucked, especially in the V8 Supercar, because you couldn't obviously hop the curbs. I think that was Gen 2. But yeah, I wasn't trying. I got one slowdown, but I wasn't paying attention. I was looking at fuel numbers and making sure that it is a save, and as I went into the corner, but I just didn't attack, or after I had the gap, I just didn't attack some of the corners that were slowdown risks, and just sort of that helped myself a bit as well, where others were trying to push and catch up, and they just kept on getting slowdowns. So.
Indeed. Now, obviously, out in week 9, Pro Series takes precedence, quite rightly so. We wish you guys the very best of luck with that. Will you come and have a training run next week at Alton Park? And if so, what are your thoughts?
Probably. If we're available, we'll do it. Which I'm sure we probably will be. Alton Park. To be really honest, I'd have to Google the track because I can't remember off the top of my head which track it is. Actually,
It's one in
you
the
know what?
United Kingdom.
Oh wait. Oh no, I do know what it is. Oh, okay. What layout is it?
Sorry, I was halfway through a mouthful of lime cordial. Adam, you might be able to shed some light on that for us. Is it the full layout at Alton Park without one of the chicanes?
I know there's two chicanes.
I don't have that exact information on me at the moment. Hang on, I'll try and dig it up.
So
Adam's working on it.
the Legends are just doing the small Foster's track, so the little funky square, and the V8s are doing it without Britons, which is the really tight chicane at the start of the straight. So you'll come out of the top spoony hairpin, then you have the big sweeper all the way down, then you have the chicane at the end of that big straight, and then go on from there.
Okay. I guess I'll find out. I don't even think I drove the Gen 2 much there. I think there was a couple races, but you know, I'm down for the challenge. I'll give it a go. It'll be tight racing. I think there'll be a few contacts, whether they'll be accidental or racing or whatever. But you know, we'll bring on next week and see how we go.
I do apologise because I was looking at track and other information, that YouTube comment that came through with regards to wanting to get involved and be a part of all of this madness. Race.tgsrci.com is where you go for all the relevant information on how to sign up and get involved. Race.tgsrci.com. That lengthens out to the Gentleman Sim Racing Club Incorporated, just for anyone playing along at home. Hey, Brad, what keeps you busy in the meantime, mate?
Well, we've got OSR 12-hour coming up. We've obviously got Pro coming up. Other than that, sim-wise, I can't think of anything else. I might play around with officials and try different setup things on different tracks. But other than that, until then, just testing and doing laps and whatever else comes next.
Very nicely done. It's interesting because as we were talking about Alton Park, my immediate thought is, and I'll happily say this on air next Wednesday night as well, I'm hoping it'll be stimulating to keep us awake, because there are some circuits, and that's one of them, where it's a bit of a goat track for the big cars, right? It can be very difficult for overtaking and other things. Some circuits just suit the lighter, more nimble, the less horse-powered cars a little bit more so. However, I want to get your thoughts on this. St. Petersburg's part of the Season 2 update, mate. I cannot wait to watch us tearing around the streets of the host circuit for the IndyCar season opener in Florida there. I think that'll be an absolute awesome track and a great addition to the server.
It'll be really interesting. I've never actually driven the track on anything. Like, I haven't driven on any game, I haven't driven on any sim. So it'll be completely new to me. But I'm actually looking forward to something new coming, such as a track for IndyCar that is used. It'll be a good experience, I think. By the looks of the track there, it'll be hopefully good racing, maybe not. I guess we'll see pretty soon.
We certainly will indeed, and looking forward to it immensely. Anything else you want to add, mate? Some thank yous, or are we good to rock and roll?
I'd just like to thank OBDM and our sponsors, Revolution Race Gear and iLiveries, and thank you for you guys putting on the show.
Go and help our good friend Tyson calm down a little bit. I think the red mist was still flying around feverishly whilst we're hearing from him after the stoush with Ryan Jones, mate. Good to catch up with you. Good luck to the boys for the rest of the week. We'll see you next Wednesday night, if not before.
I'll give him a big glass of milk. He'll be all right.
I love it. There he is, Cuddly Radchief, race winner tonight in the Trophi.AI Supercar Elite Series. We're going to get to the race winner of the Dev Split in just a moment. But let me bring Will Buchanan into all of this as well, because I'm interested in what your plan of attack was when you saw all hell breaking loose around you, mate. Cars flying left, right, and centre, rubbing paddles door to door, hip and shoulder, sort of NASCAR vibes going on everywhere. Not least, obviously, the meat sandwich that resulted in Sammy Blacklock getting poleaxed and sent into the inside of the Wall of Champions there, coming onto the main straight. But by fair and large, it looked as though just by minding your own business and doing your own thing, you were able to benefit greatly. Good strategy, good choices, and second the reward, mate. Well played, well done. Unfortunately, foregone conclusion, because old mate Brad was 10 seconds up the road, but still, banking championship points is what it's all about.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, just saw the circus happen up in front of me there, so I was like, I'm just going to bide my time here and just sit behind them and let them lose time. And I decided pretty early I was going to come in and undercut, just because I knew they was going to keep battling and losing time. So, and worked out pretty well, came out pretty well far in front to just look after the tyres for the rest of the race and just pull the gap out slightly as each lap went on.
Good solid result, mate. I mean, nice way to continue the run. What was your plan of attack going into tonight? Because we know that again, there's movers and shakers in this championship fight. You've got these guys from Orbit Drop Bear, of course, firmly focused on what's coming up in the next couple of weeks. We know that you haven't been a regular this season. So what was the mindset going into the 40-minute affair tonight?
Obviously the goal was a podium, which was good to get that. Obviously wanted to perform a lot better. It's pretty hard trying to start a race when you got 3 drop bear cars in front of you. So I just had to bide my time, and unfortunately just silly mistakes. Like at the last chicane, I just ran a bit wide, and unfortunately cost Blacklock and Jake a little bit. I think ran up the bum of him. I don't know if you got any damage from that, but ruled Blacklock out, was a bit unfortunate. Other than that, it was just maintain the tyres, and the undercut was pretty powerful tonight, so I was just keeping that in mind the whole time.
And on that subject as well, mate, I guess we better ask you. Last week, not on the grid, but now you've got the full set. You had a third in your first appearance in round 4, a first in round 5, and now a second to complement all that in week 7.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. Obviously, yeah, it's been a season of missed races just due to holidays and other series going on that I was preparing for. But I'm locked in now for the rest of the last few rounds, so I'm going to try and get the best results as possible.
How difficult is it to, I mean, obviously, take nothing away from the Orbit Drop Bear stable. We know their plan of attack. They're trying to fry a bigger fish, right? They've got the bright lights, the Logitech G Pro Invitational calling. We know you do as well. We know that there's a lot of eyes and a lot of attention on that series. It is the preeminent supercar series in this country for a reason. How difficult is it to plan around that and also, keep match fit just by not necessarily turning up and being a championship contender in other series, but knowing that you can be competitive when you are here? And how do you go about prioritising what you're going to commit to year on year, and then making sure that you also, get a somewhat healthy work-life balance out of all of that, and also dedicate enough time to the racing side of things that you are going to prioritise, whilst also being able to dabble in other things as well along the way?
Yeah, I mean, it's good that have all these series like GSRC running through the week just to keep match fit, as you said. Obviously the goals are the biggest series, but having like GSRC and that pretty much running really similar tracks each season, it's good to get a testing point for those bigger series when they come around. But I enjoyed it. Also helps when you have a good miso as well. That allows you to race most nights to keep match fit.
Yeah, exactly. Some people, essentially rely on that match fitness, don't they? So talk us through the next 3 weeks, mate. Obviously, a lot of eyes on Sebring for the Logitech opener in week 9, but our road ahead is Alton Park, the Hungaro Ring, and then, of course, on to the streets of Adelaide. How are you feeling about all of that?
Yeah, good. If I'm thinking correctly, Alton Park was an official start of the year or end of last year, and I was really quick there. So keen for that one. Hungaro Ring still haven't bought the track, so see how we go. And then Adelaide, I'm pretty quick there. Doing officials at the start of the year, so keen to give those a run and hopefully pull off a couple of podiums or so.
All right, very nicely done. Any comments on how the rest of the team fared out there this evening? Again, we're picking Brad's brain about the banter and the activity with inside their Discord server. What was it like over at your end?
Oh yeah, chatty as always, all us boys. But we'll just talking about staying out of trouble, just keeping everyone's head together. Just let everyone else in front of us sort their stuff out, mucking around with each other, and we'll gain it back at the end. And it showed with Terry finishing P1 in his split, and obviously me coming away with P2.
All right, mate, we're going to hear from your teammate in just a moment. Anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
Just shout out to all the RER boys, and I'll leave the sponsor shout out to Terry since he won split, dead split.
All right, very nicely done. Good to catch up, mate. Appreciate you hanging around and letting us talk to the Orbit Drop Bear stable first. Go well for the rest of this week. We'll look forward to catching up same time, same place, albeit different server circuit, next Wednesday night.
Do you guys. Take care.
Terry Marsh, I was trying to articulate it, and I don't know if I did a good enough job of it for the audience at home. You'll understand what I'm talking about when you go back and have a look at the replay, but what a way to bounce back. Put the difficulties of Miami to one side and stamp your authority on your championship fight as well, mate. Great recovery, great fight back, great win, and to do it from behind as well.
Yeah, no, it's pretty good. To be honest, after a spin, I thought, I'm not going to be able to get any sort of positions back. So I just calmed my head and just raced as if it was just a practice run, just doing my times, and then, yeah.
What was the difference, mate, between, did you just, because I know last week you were talking about the difficulties of trying to gel with the Miami circuit. What was the difference between there and here, and how much more comfortable did you feel going into tonight?
I did plenty of practice there for the pre-qualifying for V8SC to try and get into the split 2. I unfortunately missed out by a couple of tenths to make it into the split 2, so doing that at this circuit was a lot of help, very, very much a lot of help.
And obviously help that was rewarded, and help that went a long way to ticking the box and achieving the goals, mate. How much of a leg up, confidence-wise, does that give you going into the final 3 weeks?
I wouldn't say confidence. I'd say pressure. There's a lot of pressure, but I just got to keep reminding myself that I'm here to work on my racecraft. I'm not here to try and be number one. Number one's way down the track. I've got a lot more goals in between them to achieve.
Give us an example of some of those goals and how you're going about trying to tick those boxes.
A few things. Probably be up there with Will. He's probably my target for where I want to be, so that's probably the short-term goal. The goal next to that will be trying to get into like the Logitech Pro Series Split 1 of V8SC. At this stage, I'm just working it week by week. I'm not trying to push myself. I'm trying to absorb all the information the boys give me weekend and week out. Sometimes I can put it together, sometimes I can't. It's just all about working on the racecraft, trying to fine-tune those little things and then implement them. you can practice all weekend, but come to the crunch when the pressure's all on you, you can just fold instantly like that. So it's all about trying to overcome that pressure, and I'm starting to feel it.
I know what you mean. Next week, Alton Park, last 40-minute race of the season. How are you feeling about that circuit?
Yeah. It's not one of my favorite tracks on the calendar, but unfortunately,
yeah.
unfortunately, it's the racing the race there. So I'll just put in the practice like I have been, and hopefully get a good result.
Practice makes perfect, but yeah, everyone's dealt the same hand of cards, aren't they? So you got to. Everyone's in the same boat. You got to play with the hand you're dealt. So good luck with that. We hope to be having another chat with you this time, same place next week on the back of another strong result. But yeah, 3 wins in 4 weeks, mate. Solid form. Let's hope you can finish it off that way.
Yeah. I thought it was 4 in 4 weeks, not including that first split of that first race.
Yeah. No, I mean last week, obviously, 2 wins would be a full sweep. But yeah.
I'll just, like I said, I'll just keep working at it. There's so much I've got to work on. There's no real area I can pinpoint. There's just so many little things I've got to work on, and yeah. So hopefully I can pull a good result next week and have some fun.
And you missed out on the round last week by 2 points as well. So that was the other reason for the point. But tonight, back in victory lane, beautifully done. There's been a little bit of toing and froing I'm seeing here, Adam Lavis, week in, week out, with regards to drivers going up and down servers or splits. So you can explain on what that's all about at the back end of the broadcast here, because everyone's going to see it on the screen, aren't they?
So you're looking at so Terry did win the round last week. It's just the colours have changed because those new people have come in, so it looks different.
Yeah, copy. Yeah, easy. I was going to say that did confuse me for a moment there, because gold, silver, and bronze, right? Terry, well done. Do you want to thank anybody before I let you go, buddy?
Yeah, I want to thank the RER boys for all their help and confidence in me. I want to thank AITX, Shieldcoat, Kibby, Sudspeed, and Slady's Glossworks. Thanks.
Hopefully I can see you next week on track as I try and catch you after my bad qualifying.
I'll look for you another video. I'm joking.
Well, we hope Adam is back out there next week as well. He was just deputising for Dan Yeaman in the hot seat of producer, editor, director tonight. Thanks, Terry. Appreciate it, mate.
Thank you, boys. Thanks for everything.
There he is, Terry Marsh. And last but certainly not least, let's go and have a chat with 1C Nomenton, ladies and gentlemen. I forgot. I do apologise. I should have waved as I was going by the exit to your neck of the woods in the early hours of this morning, mate. But good evening to you. Talk us through that 40 minutes from your standpoint, what you were happy with and what you weren't so happy with.
I was pretty happy with the pace of the car. If I didn't get a couple of the slowdowns that I ended up getting right before I went into the pits, I probably would have been up there with Terry fighting towards the end. But yeah, the car had good pace. I had really good pace. I was just, the tyres went off at the end, and I should have pit a couple laps earlier. And
Now, in saying all that, we'll remind us. Obviously, you did have good pace early. Terry finished strong. There were a couple of other things that were going on there as well. Hard fought, the dev split at the moment, even in the absence of Adam Lavis.
Yeah, there's a lot of battles going on. We're pretty close to each other up the front, so you're always fighting someone for the most part. Albeit they might not be in your championship race, but you're always with someone at some point racing them pretty hard.
Talk us through it from your standpoint. What was the Discord channel like in your neck of the woods? And also, I guess I probably should ask some of the other guys this occasionally as well. How do you, when when you're not part in or involved in any of the other incidents going on around you for some of your teammates, mate, how do you push that to one side? How do you zone out to all of that to not let it impact what you're doing and how you're trying to tick boxes and kick goals as this race plays out?
For the most part, I kind of just use it as like I need to, get my head down and not do what they're doing and whatever else, even if it's they're just driving past an accident or I'm driving past an accident. It's just trying to use it to reset my head, just bring the car back in and try and get it to the end of the race. At least that's what I do. I don't know what the other boys do, but that's how I personally view it.
We've heard a lot from all these guys with regards to next week, Alton Park, the Hungaro Ring. I guess there's a big opportunity for some of the guys in this series, Kurt, that aren't involved in the Logitech G Pro Invitational in a fortnight's time to tick a lot of boxes and make inroads when we get to the Hungaro Ring. But those guys will come back looking to prove a point when we go to Adelaide the week after. So it's a very interesting, no straightforward equations in the next 3 weeks. Alton Park's a mixed bag. The Hungaro Ring and sprint racing will provide some fireworks. And of course, Adelaide's the unknown entity.
Yeah, definitely going to be interesting. I don't know how I'm going to go at Alton Park. I haven't really done much around there or Hungaro Ring, so we'll just have to take it as we go and see what happens. It's definitely going to be a very interesting end to the season.
The fourth place for you tonight, obviously, it would have been nice to get up on the podium. What have you got to do to actually make that next step up, mate, and get another podium finish in the bank for this season?
It's just getting rid of the little mistakes that I was making, braking, a couple meters too late into the corners, or just little things like that. Just need to get them out of the driving, and I should be closer to get into those podiums. I think that's the main thing that's letting me down at the moment, is just the little mistakes.
Yeah, and it's so hard it's so hard to break bad habits, right? It's so hard to take that next step up in terms of just getting rid of those little trip-ups and idiosyncrasies and, I guess, little imperfections, mate. And it's not a straightforward equation because no 2 race weeks are the same.
Yeah, that's it. It's not straightforward, and it's just things that I'll have to work on a lot in the off-season when I, switch focus more to these cars for the next season and try and actually, get the pace back up after the start of the season. Feeling my way back in and feeling a lot more confident driving the car again.
What else is on the Kurt Normanson racing schedule for this week, please? We'll be seeing you tomorrow night, no doubt.
No, you won't be seeing me tomorrow night. I'll be on the coast at Lincoln Park.
That's right. I remember you saying that. Yes.
So that'll take me out.
But then again, Lincoln Park, right?
Yeah, I can't miss Lincoln Park. So, yeah, it's probably me done for the rest of the week with racing, and we'll just switch focus towards next week with all the racing there. Just go from that.
So, the trip home obviously leads us into week 8 GT3. We haven't covered week 7 yet. We're going to do that on Monday. We had some tech issues the other night. So when does the trip to Lincoln Park finish, and when does the preparation for week 8 start, please?
It'll be sometime Friday that I get home, and we'll just see how tired I am even after going to bed up the coast at my aunt's place. We'll just have to see how tired I am after driving 3 hours to get home again.
Well, that's exactly right. Plus the ungodly exercise of winding your clock back 112 years in 1 hour and then winding it forward 112 years in 1 hour as well. It's going to be a long weekend for your watch, Kurt. But anyway, it is what it is, I guess. It's either drive the 3 hours to Brizzy or drive the or the sunny coast or wherever, or drive the 7 hours to Sydney. I know which one I'd prefer to do, having just done the 8 hours from Ipswich to Cessnock this morning. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate that. Good to see you make it through unscathed tonight. Hopefully a podium in the offing for you somewhere between now and the end of the season to finish this championship on a strong note. Enjoy tomorrow night. We'll see you on the grid on Monday night.
Too easy, thanks, Zach.
There he is, Kurt Normanson, very nicely done and very well spoken as well. Righto, Adam Lavis. I normally do this part of it, but you'll be able to explain the promotion and the demotion that's going on when we have a look at these championship standings, because as we hit the end of week 7, we reach a point where the drop rounds come into the mix, but also you, of course, have a look at the threshold and who's done enough to earn themselves a slot on the elite grid and who may need just a little bit more work and attention to detail and who's going back to the dev split. So I'll let you take it from here, please.
There's not much to talk about. The one new person on the grid tonight, obviously, they were sort of towards the back of the field, so they've obviously gone to the dev account as a new driver. And then Andy Barber also tonight's pace, even though he did relatively well within the dev split area, he was currently elite, but he's just crept outside the threshold, so he's dropped in the outside of the elite margin. So he's gone back to the dev with his teammate from last week. So they'll be able to rejoin forces and now put themselves in a pretty good position to finish out the season in the dev split. So they've got a chance now to really fight for potentially put some pressure on Terry for the top spot.
Indeed they do. It is going to be a very interesting run home to the checkered flag in this series, especially when you consider that Jake Slade is charging home. And Jace Douglas not resting very comfortably on his laurels at this particular point in time, sweating a little bit more than he would have been 20 minutes ago before those points were updated. That championship lead has evaporated almost to beyond any sort of reasonable margin at this point. 20 points isn't a lot to play with, especially when you got an enduro, a 40-minute race and 2 sprint races to come in this series. Wow-wee. Luke Page is also a threat, 239. It's a 3-horse race. Alex Tzigis on 197, 6 clear of Craig Bond. I sent Bondy a message on your behalf last week saying renew your bloody membership because it's due, or we won't see you. I think he's opted for the latter at the moment. I'll have to follow that up. Sam Chapman, 191, 176 for Dane Snadden. That was a good recovery from Chapman tonight, actually, through to 11th. Where do I get up to? Sam Cullen, 172, 170 for Tyson Broad, and Will Buchanan, 167 points. There you go. 115 covers the top 10. I think 90 for the win in the final week when we get to the streets of Adelaide. So plenty to play for in this series at the moment. Dev split. Adam Lavis drops 3 spots as a result of filling in for Dan Yeaman. He can send the invoice Yeaman's way, or actually just send it to Orbit Drop Bear Motorsport. They'll cover it. Terry Marsh leads it by 2 points. Are you bloody kidding me? Have a look at that. 286 plays, 284. Ryan Barber, 265, 19. 21 covers the top 3 at the moment, and 26 the top 4. And Kurt Normanson holding on to a top 5 championship spot right now, but only by 10 points on Dale Sharp, who had a night to forget early on here, didn't he? He got involved in a couple of incidents tonight. Marcus Hankey, Daniel Snedden, Adam Lavis, and Eduardo Zamora the top 10. We didn't see Eduardo tonight. Adam was here. He was accounted for. 122 points covers first and 9th at the moment. You may as well not even bother with Eduardo. He's too far back to factor in the equation. But that's a high. That's high. 26 points covers the top 4. Game on in the final 3 weeks of the Dev split here. Teams Championship. Have a look at that. Southern Stars Esports, Andy Barber, Ryan Barber, straight to the top of the class. 548 plays Revolution E-Racing, 434, 388 for the Nommensen and Snedden combination in all of that. I could imagine that would have been entertaining with Daniel Snedden in the house tonight. Nathan Michael Andrew Nell for Whiskey Business on 357. So 31 covers 3rd and 5th. But again, it's Dev split teams dominating the top half of that leaderboard right now. Jake Douglas, Jet Murray still doing enough to hold on to 2nd as far as the elite split are concerned. And then well back is Luke Page on his own. And Dane Snadden and Luke King. Again, Snadden having a night to forget. JMR and Bondi only 6 points in that as well for top 10 of the team's bragging rights. We do it with thanks to Trophi.AI, Flash Graphics, merch.tgsrc.com, Waste Options, and of course Disruptive Labs, ladies and gentlemen. It has been a very sad day, as I detailed earlier. I should actually elaborate on this. I mentioned the passing of Peter Brock's brother Phil earlier tonight. I didn't want to believe it at first. I didn't believe it at first because I was waiting for confirmation from a credible source, and unfortunately Auto Action isn't considered that these days. Their credibility is not what it used to be. But once it came through, it kind of dawned on us that we've lost another significant figure in a marvellous era of Australian motorsport. And even though, I know that this will be perceived in different ways by different people when I say it, Phil actually, for mine, lovely bloke, and it was interesting because it didn't start all that great for me and Phil, because I wore the wrath of some of his brutal expert comments or assessment. He was not a huge fan of my commentary style in an event that I called with Lockie Mansell back in 2014. I remember seeing the comment very vividly. And then I had the chance to do the MC gig with him, hosting one of his weekend at Brocky functions in 2017, and instantly, perception and everything else changed, and we got along like a bloody house on fire. And he actually embraced my energy and my exuberance, if you like. So it was interesting how it started and how it ended, because it was a complete 180 and polar opposite of where it was. Lovely bloke, loved to chat, absolutely loved to chat. But obviously there was a lot of interest in Pin, and Pin was happy to embrace the fans and chat with them until the cows came home, because of these, extraordinary interest that there still is in the story of Peter Brock and the history and the legacy that he left behind. And I don't say this very lightly, but I can't help but think that Phil's fame really took off when Peter passed, because he was there to fill in the pieces, to tell the story. And I don't mean that as a bad thing. That ended up being a really good thing, because it kept the fans connected to a very important part of Australian motorsport. So his fame probably resurged a little bit in certainly the 2010s, when that weekend at Brocky's show hit the road and went right around the country. And I'll never forget the fact that I was privileged enough to host one of those at Lakeside in 2017. That will stay with me until I die as one of the best functions I've ever been part of. So Vale Phil Brock, we will miss him. And again, it's because of that storytelling, it's because of that legacy that this is a doubly sad day, because another, important pillar of that has departed. That connection again between Brock and the fan, another little small piece of that has left the building. So this is a moment in time that will be remembered, and it will be mourned by not just Brock fans, but history of Australian motorsport fans as well. So again, our condolences go out to Pin's family, nearest and dearest friends as well. And as we led off before talking about Phil's passing, the passing of Dennis Cometti caught us all by surprise today as well. And with that in mind, later in the year, the Seven Network, sorry, that's how tired I am. I went to say Cessnock. No, the Seven Network. I'm in Cessnock. The Seven Network announced at the start of the year that they're going to do a doco and a profile story, program on Dennis Cometti titled Centimetre Perfect, and appropriately so. And instead of that being, a tribute, it'll now be a posthumously put together special that will have so much more significance than it was already going to be a very special program, but even more so now that we know that Den's no longer here. So very sad day. We now look forward, we were already looking forward to that doco. We now look forward to it for nostalgic and retrospective purposes. And I know there'll be a lot of eagle eyes on that when it drops on the 7 network. Maybe they knew something that we didn't. Maybe they were planning that knowing that Den had been ill. I'm not sure. But, yeah, it seems very fitting and appropriate timing that was all in the works. And now we get the news that he's no longer with us. So, Varway Dennis Committee, the tributes over the weekend will be worth having a look at during the opening round of the AFL. Let's have a look at what's coming your way on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Tomorrow night, now make a note of this will be broadcast, but it won't be tomorrow night. We've got Not a Hope in Hell because we don't have anyone tied to the Thursday night broadcast at the moment. So it'll be Adam Lavis and I again at a time to be confirmed. But what a doubleheader that promises to be. The Adelaide Parklands for the Porsches. 2 sprint races there. We're looking forward to that. 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time is when the race gets underway, for those of you playing along and contesting it. The numbers have been through the roof this season in the Porsche Cup. I expect them to be so again tomorrow night, purely because of it being Adelaide. Whether it's a pogo stick or not, I don't care. There'll be a lot of interest just because of the venue. Preceding it, speaking of great venues, Mount Panorama Bathurst, where Brock made his name, of course. He's legend. 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time, 40-minute race there, the fourth last round of the Disruptive Labs GT4 Challenge. Friday night, not sure who's joining Joe at this stage. We'll confirm it once we know. And this is why we didn't do banners in the early part of the week, ladies and gentlemen. We did Monday, Friday, but we had no idea what was going on tonight because we thought we were going to have one part live, one part delayed. It ended up being all live thanks to the selflessness of Adam Lavis. But Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, again, the venue. Seeing a lot of that this week. Friday night, GTE, and Joe Baldwin steering you through that one from 8:25 Eastern Daylight Time for a race start at 8:30. Whilst doing that, they'll spin the wheel to determine the car of choice for Saturday night's Mountain Men Affair from 8:30 Eastern Daylight Time. Then we get into week 8, the third last week of Term 1. But we will do so with a replay of week 7 GT 3 action and Super Formula Light action. That was due to be out on Monday Night Live, but due to Adam Lavis having a tech issue that he couldn't get sorted in time, Monday night we pulled the pin on that very last minute, and as a result of that, there'll be a double up on Monday. It'll be a broadcast. Excuse me. It'll be a broadcast that finishes sometime before 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time because I'm on school pickup for my little niece on Monday. So you will join us from probably 11:30, 12 o'clock, no later, and we'll go through. So we're looking forward to that. I think from memory, Algarve was the venue for the Super Formula Lights and then the Nürburgring for the GT3, and that was sprint racing as well. Here, live on Monday night as week 8 gets underway later in the day at 7:45 from the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. We have another sprint round of the Waste Options Super Formula Light Series. Then, as we stay in Europe again, so a European doubleheader 2 weeks in a row, Mazzano World Circuit, Marco Simoncelli, the pro split there with the focus from 8:45 Eastern Daylight Time, and that is another 60-minute race for you, but I think it's the last one as well. We go sprint racing in week 9 and then 90 minutes week 10, so the last of the 60-minute races there, and looking forward to that. Downforce Legends from the Bend, have fun with that. Tuesday night, and that'll be for 40 minutes from 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Did I say that subtly enough? I'm not sure. Downforce Legends, that's the Tuesday night non-broadcast offering in the entree slot. Main course will be right at Atlanta for the GSRC Retro Formula 1 Championship from 9:15 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and 2 sprint races. The lay of the land there for those guys. That's their assignment and agenda. Wednesday night, the GSRC Oz Legends Cup continues. I should be back at Ipswich by this point. Again, running on 112 years and 1 hour behind time. Alton Park Foster's first up. Alton Park without Britain's second up. 40 minutes for the Supercars. 2 sprint races again for the Oz Legends Cup. And we are on air 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time, pending Dan Yeaman's work schedule. And we're looking forward to having him back on deck. Adam, thanks for being the sacrificial lamb tonight and keeping the seat warm for Dan. Final thoughts from you.
Oh, yeah, it was good. It would have been fun about there, but got to do what we got to do. But yeah, it was good to see a decent field again tonight. So hopefully that trend keeps towards the end of the season for the supercars, because as I said, once we get a few numbers, it does provide some interesting racing and battles throughout the field. So good to see. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see how these last 3 tracks play out, and with the championship tightening up in both ends, should be good.
Formula One Australian Grand Prix coverage commences tomorrow morning, 10:30 Eastern Daylight Time, 7:30 in the West. Looking forward to that. Geez, that argy-bargy, Ryan Jones, Tyson Broad, that's on screen to finish us off tonight. I love that. That was a big talking point, wasn't it? Those boys were having at it, and it was a real dogfight. We've already heard Tyson's thoughts on it. Ryan getting his beauty sleep before he goes and does his media work in the Albert Park precinct tomorrow. So we didn't hear from him, but I can't wait to pick his brain about it at some point down the track.
So it was Tyson. Now it's looking capable, so they both go into it.
Yeah, exactly. They all had a piece of Ryan Jones to contend with tonight. It was great stuff. Formula One Grand Prix coverage tomorrow morning from 10:30 Eastern Daylight Time. It's just support action tomorrow, so Porsche Carrera Cup and the other thing. And then, of course, that runs through till 6 o'clock in the evening, 3 o'clock on the West Coast. That then leads us straight into Thursday night football. I'm so pleased that I don't have to work tomorrow night, because it means I can watch the footy. I can just focus on the fact that the footy is back and the Melbourne Storm play the Parramatta Eels in the NRL. The Sydney Swans take on Carlton in the AFL, and you'll see them on 7, mate, 9 and 9 Gem, depending upon where you're tuning in. NBL finals getting underway. Premier League first thing tomorrow morning. Live Golf in Hong Kong. There's a lot to be excited about. Women's Asian Football Cup continuing. There's Matildas in action, 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time tomorrow night on Network 10. How good's that going to be? And at midnight tonight, the first T20 World Cup semi-final, ladies and gentlemen. So if you feel like burning the midnight oil, there's plenty of sport to keep you entertained. Women's Test match, Australia and India, of course, starting on Friday. And Perth hosting the UCI World Track Cycling Cup as well. So a lot to be excited about in the next couple of days. And of course, IndyCar Sunday morning from Phoenix and NASCAR Monday morning from Phoenix as well. Double header, IndyCar Sunday, NASCAR Monday. Excited about all of that. Good to have the footy back. Good to have the women's cricket. Good to have it all back. Too much sport is never enough. We've said it so many times before. Hope you enjoyed it tonight. Bit different with me being in Cessnock for the first time during Term 1. And there'll be a couple of more examples of that throughout the course of the season as I continue my road trips to work with Karting New South Wales, of course. Sucks to be them, I must say, because when I first booked this trip, they said, let us know what's going to be cheaper, flights or fuel at the time. Fuel was cheaper. It looks like flights are going to be cheaper now, but anyway, they're going to have to cover the invoice all the same. God bless the prologue or prelude to World War III, eh? We shouldn't make light of that, but yes, unfortunately, we're all going to pay the price for the hostilities unfolding in the Middle East at the moment. So our best wishes to all and sundry, especially any Australian Defence Service men or women that may be called upon to head into the line of duty, into the firing line for all of that. Hope you enjoyed it tonight. I'll be off to Canberra on Friday. If you're out near Circuit Mark Webber in Queanbeyan on Sunday, feel free to come and say g'day. In the meantime, on behalf of Adam Lavis and all the crew here, thanks for your company. Interesting night, different winners right across the board. A new winner in the Oz Legends Cup. Adam Funslow pits Sam Chapman in a photo. And of course, as you've seen here, Bradley Ratu has just cleaned up in the Pro Series of the Supercar Elite Split. And of course, in Trophi.AI Supercars Dev Split, Terry Marsh continued his winning ways as well. Championship fight well and truly alive with 3 weeks to go. On behalf of Adam Lavis and all the crew here, the boys will see you Friday night. Adam and I will see you for a double header on Monday, and then we've got some serious catch up to do with regards to Thursday night motorsport as well. We'll do that at a time to be advised. Until then, enjoy what's left of your Wednesday evening, everybody. I'm Zach Cabin. Bye for now.